have animation freelancers, and we have lots of good friends that I've been talking to, with some a lot of time for a long time, some less, but really talented folks and that have been in the industry for a long, long period of time, doing this for a long time as well. So we have Rex. Rex joins us from Japan in Tokyo. I feel for Rex because right now in Tokyo it's 3 a.m. So he's going to be joining us for an hour. Poor Rex is keeping
All
awake
good.
for us, so I appreciate that, Rex. We also have Giuliano. Giuliano is joining us from, where are you getting it, Giuliano?
Malta?
Malta. That's it.
Yes.
Giuliano is in Malta right now, and in Malta is not so late, so it's really good, and it's
Oh,
also warm, which is
it's
amazing.
7.
Is it 7? Perfect. And then we have Will joining us from Bulgaria, even though he's British. We worked together back in the day, like a long, long time ago. And then we have Daniel. Daniel joins us from Germany, senior gameplay animator, freelance. And I think I will allow everybody to introduce themselves before we go in. So maybe we can start again, go circle around, and start with Rex, and then we can go Giuliano, Will, and Daniel, if that's okay.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Rex. I started animation in 1997. Just give you the short gist. 97 in Canada, Vancouver, Canada. Uh, Moved to Japan in 2010. Got a job, animation job here, and yeah, here I am now.
Amazing. That's definitely a super short version, Rex. You've done so many things.
Oh no, no. I'm sure there's the folks here have done a lot of stuff as well. Anyway,
Very humble.
please.
This is a theme that you'll see through this Streamathon. Everybody's incredibly humble. So,
Oh,
Giuliano, please go ahead.
Well, nice to meet you guys. 97, Rex. 97, I was starting graphic design in Brazil. And then I moved
very
to
cool.
animation, and then here we are. So I am working with this for a long time. I have done a little bit of everything, like motion graphics, 2D, 3D, and a lot of things. And I'm living in Malta now and working with game animation for the past 7 years or so. But I'm still doing a little bit of everything because I love this creative part of the animation, like experimenting and doing different stuff. Nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
No problem. No problem at all. Will?
Yeah, so I grew up in a small town in South Africa. Ended up studying art, graphic design first, then accidentally got an animation job. This was probably around 97, 96, 97 as well. And then sort of the beginning of 3D animation. Um, and then my school didn't have it yet that I studied at, and they asked me to start a little course. And part-time I was lecturing a little bit as well. And eventually, two of my friends decided they're going to go to England to work in the games industry there. It sounded like a really cool idea, so I ended up moving to England there for about 17 years. Ended up working in mostly game studios for almost all that time. Lead animator some places, and then yeah, so got tired of the whole studio vibes or working in a studio. So we ended up moving to Bulgaria, to a plot of land here, a lot of renovations, a lot of building it up from scratch. And then since then, I've been freelance online from there. Character animation mostly, yeah.
Nice one.
Cool.
And Daniel, last but definitely not least.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Harvey.
No
Yeah,
problem.
I've been doing animation since 2003, started in film and crossed over to games in 2016. I started in Germany and then went to London and then went to New Zealand. And after New Zealand, I joined Riot Games and then I joined Moon and now I'm at Unseen and yeah, loving, gameplay animation. Absolutely amazing. Doing visceral and really stylized animation, which is a big joy. Very creative and very expressive, and gives a lot of room for creative ideas. So, yeah, that's what we're doing right now. That's what I'm doing right now, and I'm working here from my studio, which we're about to close off in a month and a half. I had this now for 4 years, and yeah, just making basically making us a little bit smaller. So we're
Oh, I
losing the
see.
studio at the moment. So yeah, but everything's
Man,
good, and yeah.
I'm so jealous. You have your own studio. Looks awesome, man. Looks like you have a lot of space. You're gonna
Yeah,
miss it, I'm sure.
this is I'm jumping around a lot in the background all the time, you know.
Yeah, when the
So
camera is not on, you just like
yeah,
cartwheels and stuff.
Oh, that's
exactly.
perfect for VR as well in there.
Amazing. So thank you so much for everybody like that, you guys joining us. I know everybody's super busy and you guys taking like, time of your schedule to do this. And I know people need to go like to actually do other things and people will come along as well. But for everybody joining us in the chat, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for ahead of time for all your questions. Definitely add like as many questions as possible, ask as many things as possible. These guys have so much knowledge for so many years as you probably can gather. So this is definitely the time to ask as many questions as possible and we can answer them live. And I think that's really special. For all of you, all are doing freelancing, and I'd love to actually focus on that side of things. And I know that, both Rex and Daniel specifically as well, you guys have to hop off a little earlier. But Rex, me and you have lots of conversations about the Japanese, how things work. And I know for a fact a lot of people are watching right now. They are wondering how does Japan differ from the rest of the world in terms of the animation and how they work and all that stuff. And I know you also made the bold move of actually going independent with Katana Cuts, which is your company in Japan. So I would love to know from your standpoint, what made you go freelance, right? And like what have you learned from your professional experience that you can then want to bring to this field for everybody wanting to actually make the jump, right? Especially in Japan.
Excuse me. Yeah, I guess I haven't done freelance in so long. Back in Vancouver, um, after working at a television studio, Mainframe Entertainment, doing Reboot and Beast Wars and all that stuff,
I
old school
remember
stuff.
those, yeah.
Uh, yeah, and other studios as well. I went into freelancing for VFX, film VFX, for a
Mhm.
little while. Um, and then from there, basically from there, there's other studios in between. I moved to Japan, and from 2010, worked in a bunch of studios, but I was never really a freelancer at these studios.
Mm.
They, I was working as what they call keyakushain, which is a contracted employee. So you are um, hired and paid by the company, but you're not necessarily freelancing. They still kind of, you're an employee of that company, but you're not
Right.
getting like health benefits or social benefits. Um, so I was doing that for several years, and then I had an opportunity actually in around 2016, 2017 from a bigger studio back in Vancouver to be CG supervisor.
Mhm.
And maybe I'm going in a little bit of my history
I don't know.
here.
It's great. That's good. Please keep going.
So um, I was offered to take the role of CG supervisor at a studio, um, and I was talking to my wife about that. Like, we can move back. Uh, my salary would be quite good. Um, but then I had the idea. I was working with a couple of guys at another studio in Japan, in Tokyo at that time. Um, and I was thinking, okay, if I move back, then that's probably going to be permanent. I'm going to be back home permanently. But if I go back, then I'll be basically, and no knock, this is just what was going on in my head. I would be basically a company man, and I would get a good salary, get all the benefits, we can have a good life with the family. Um, but then I thought, okay, what would I be missing? What opportunities would I be missing in Japan? Um, and I was I was thinking it was a kind of a crazy idea, but thought of starting a small studio here, um, because in Vancouver it would be very difficult to start something like that. But in Tokyo, uh, opportunities to start small businesses um, are quite easy comparatively.
Okay.
Tokyo is such a large city,
Yeah, that's
and there's so much of an economic kind of it's like an if you think of Tokyo or any city as a living organism, and there are veins and arteries that feed the creature, there are so many veins and arteries in Tokyo. Like if you
true.
see an aerial view of the city, it's just insane how
It's the
many
biggest city in the world,
buildings.
right?
Yeah, and
Insane.
it's so condensed.
Yeah.
Um, and so because of that, the flow of business, let's say, it's a lot easier to start out something small here. So I approached these two gentlemen that I was working with at the studio, and before I made this final decision, yay or nay, to the Vancouver studio, I talked with them, and yeah, we agreed, let's start something. So I had to say no to, unfortunately, to the Vancouver studio, and just took the plunge and started something small here. Um, and yeah, that was in 2017. And I guess that was kind of like freelancing in a way, although one of my business partners was the producer, so
Mhm.
he was getting the work. But there's something called shuko in Japan, which means, I guess, directly translated, you're being seconded. So you are working for a company,
Mhm.
but say a bigger studio, like say Square Enix, needs a lot of people really quickly. They'll contract these smaller studios and hire their staff to work on site. Doesn't You're basically hiring freelancers, but they're all vetted, pre-vetted. You don't have to go through any interview process or anything because they're already had gone
Pre-vetted,
through the vetting process
like a
through their
coder.
original company.
Hmm.
Right. So it's very quick and easy, and it's quite it happens all the time here in Japan.
Yeah.
So I was getting seconded a lot. Um, so it was kind of like freelancing where I had to learn new systems, new workflows of different studios that I worked at, which was kind of tough, but actually in the end, it it made me a better animator. It made me a better CG supervisor because I learned, how things were, different ways of doing things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a great experience for me. And then last year in 2024, I broke away from the my company and started freelancing here in Japan. And then yeah, I got connected with you, Harvey,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, you helped me out as well. So yeah, I guess we're
A
making
pleasure.
history now. So yeah,
Absolutely,
thank
absolutely.
you.
That's really, really cool. So, like, I would love to actually kind of like hear. We've been getting lots of questions. Thanks, guys, for everybody that is actually kind of like sending questions. They keep coming,
Mm,
which is great, both from
mm,
Twitch and also on YouTube. We'll get to
oh,
those in a bit, but there's going to be correlations here between people, and you'll see it forming. So I'm going to actually, as much as possible, kind of see like the connective tissue from freelancing to hopefully help you guys with the knowledge. But if you don't mind, Rex, I'd like to go to
mm,
Daniel now because I know Daniel has a different perspective because he's a freelance animator working in Germany for a Japanese
mm.
studio. So it's almost like the opposite
Oh yeah,
of
that's
what you're
right.
talking about. So maybe we can have the same question for you, Daniel, about like, how do you actually make the jump to freelancing and how do you find it to actually work for a Japanese studio in Europe,
Hmm.
in the West?
Yeah, totally. I hope, by the way, I hope you can't hear the music. I think it's the neighbor listening to some
No.
loud stuff. So cool,
Yeah.
perfect. Um, so on one side, I can super relate to you, Rex, because this entire, being flexible, being like a sponge, like learning a lot and redefining yourself, like changing your own style to what it was 2 years ago,
Hmm.
learning new tools. All this is a big part of my life. Always has been, even when I started out. And in a lot of ways, it's similar to I think how you describe it. You know, I've been with studios at the start, with you know, film studios, with Framestore, with Weta Digital for a long time, and at some point, yeah, you gotta make the decision what it is that you want to make, and what kind of, you know, you're kind of like trying to find the style and the stuff that you enjoy most making, and it's already hard to find that, right? But once you, I guess, once I had an inkling that I knew, like, okay, I need to steer into this direction a little bit more, into, you know, just because I can express stuff more, or I feel like it's more aligned with myself. That's when I, you know, made the decision to join the games industry and leave the film industry for now, and started freelancing for Riot, started freelancing for Moon, and freelancing for Unseen now, and yeah, so I think how it comes to that is through your network, the network that you build throughout the years, and you know, you try to grow that network and get know as many folks as possible, because it's just amazing to exchange all this experience, and especially when in an industry where you need to constantly learn, you need to constantly grow, you can't really stop. At some point, I guess you don't want to stop anymore. You want to keep learning. You want to keep knowing new things, and that's when, you know, that's when I found the indie games industry. You know, that's when I even swapped then from AAA to indie games, and I love this industry so much because the ideas, the workflows, the studios, it's just a lot faster, a lot. It's very intense, you know, and I guess that's how I ended up at Unseen at the moment, because it's one of the projects that is very expressive. It's very, you know, it's going to be an amazing project when it comes out, and it lets me express a lot of the things that I always wanted to do, basically, in the style. And then working for Japan, of course, there's the time zone difference, but there's a lot of animators here in Europe actually with me. The animation director is here as well.
Oh, wow.
So that makes it a bit easier within the discipline, but yeah, it also still synergizes still very well with the Japanese time zone. It also did with the LA time zone for Riot. You know, it comes down to how you handle the things. It's not
Yeah.
like I wouldn't say that a 12-hour time zone difference is a deal breaker at all, because it comes down to how you work, and how you can work. And I have a family. I have 2 kids. I have a wife. I have other responsibilities apart from work as well, and they are very important for me. And it's doable. So I
Amazing.
guess that's why I enjoy the freelance work at the
Yeah,
moment a lot.
it's really cool. So I'm starting to feel that that's common thread, and I'm gonna act here like I don't know, even though I do know about freelancing. But I'm starting to feel sense a common thread about like limitations artistically and finding a path that it makes you happy personally as well as an artist, as an animator. And I want to kind of like go to Will next, because I know Will has more experience than all of us here, and it's been around for a long time. So when it comes to motivation, Will, and I know we work together. So just so you guys know, Will and I worked together in a company called Eurocom that is no longer around in 2008, 2007. I don't know how when it was, Will, but it was a long time ago, basically. And, and basically, Will since then has done a bunch of different things, and now he has found he's a lot like almost like I'm jealous because he's gone to a place away from here and settled, and he has a piece of land and things like that. And I feel like you already almost like more advanced than us here when it comes to like getting to that perfect place. We're still on that journey. So maybe you can tell us more about that journey that you had when it comes to finding that purpose, finding that ceiling, having done everything that you wanted to do. How can you find motivation? And also, how does that connect with freelancing?
Yeah, I think part of it was just being a little bit fed up at one point, because I was going to different studios. Actually, last studio, TT Fusion, was actually quite a nice studio to work in, but the studio before that was Eurocom, and that was very much a. I
The
mean,
opposite.
there's very talented people that came from there, very good people,
Yeah.
and they, when I first started there, they were quite good, and then the pressure started like building on the company, and they started becoming a little bit more corporate, and also like a culture of overtime, unnecessary overtime that they
Yeah.
started doing. And sometimes it was just for the sake of it. So I got a little bit probably burnt out to a certain degree. And but then I went to TT Fusion, which was a very nice studio to work at. TT Fusion specifically had a very nice culture, and I did actually enjoy my time there. But then I was like an hour's drive. No, it was like an hour 20 minutes in the one direction, and my wife was working an hour in the other direction. So there's no real possibility of sort of like moving anywhere. So you just had to kind of like do that commute. Um, and generally, we wanted to. I mean, I grew up in a small place on a farm, and I wanted to go back to that kind of lifestyle and things like that.
Hmm.
So I think part of the motivation was just, sort of, okay, now it's time to kind of make a move. And
Nice.
it was a little bit. I mean, online working wasn't such a big thing at the time. So it's about, was it like 11 years ago now?
Hmm.
And we had a bit of savings. But at the same time, once we renovated the house, I wasn't really sure when the next paycheck was coming in. So, and then I got quite lucky with a few contracts that lasted a long time, and probably companies that were ahead of the curve. There was a company that worked for, they did Miscreated, and I was basically, they were quite a bit into the project, but they needed an experienced animator. So I came on board, and that lasted a while. And then there's another studio I worked on for a while as well. And then once COVID hit, like working remotely,
It's
and
like you were ahead of the curve. You know this was coming.
yeah. So since then there was like a bit of a golden age for working online, and then there's a bit for the studios. There was a bit of a slump when all the layoffs started, recent layoffs, and then the indies started picking up. So the indies carried me through till now as well. And now I'm working a bit with Harvey at Rekindled as well. So that's also a very nice concept. But we can talk a bit about that later. And
Yeah,
over
yeah,
to the other guys again while they're here. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So both Rex and Will work with me at Rekindled, and then Juliano works with me at Proxima. So
Oh,
it's all together. And we haven't worked with Daniel yet, but that's coming at some point in the future.
Come on, baby. Come on, dude.
Let's do it.
Let's do exactly. So that's really cool. So I think there's like a connection there because Juliano here, you came from Brazil, and obviously now you're living in Malta. And Juliano, I think out of all of us, most likely you've been doing freelance for how long now, Juliano? It's been years now, right? Since you started, you think?
It's been all of the years,
All
actually.
of the years, right?
I didn't have a choice, actually,
Yeah.
because in Brazil, when I started with like as a CG journalist, because again, you don't have an option. You didn't have an option because the industry in Brazil it was almost inexistent. Like game industry in Brazil, even today, is very, very small. So
Mhm.
basically, Brazil's animation and CG industry relies on advertisement and things for TV. So, but when I started, it was 2000s, around 2000, pre YouTube. So you didn't have a choice.
Right.
So if you want to do that, you need to learn by yourself, and you need to chase whatever you want to do. So as I said before, I came from graphic design, so this was the natural path, let's say,
Yeah.
to get closer to CG and animation. And then when I was graduating, I found the animation, 2D animation, and then I start moving from graphic design to animation. That's why we do so much stuff with graphic design, because my
Yeah.
I come from graphic design and I love it, of course. Uh, but since I had to chase my opportunities, I start doing freelance since the start. So,
Okay.
and it's something, of course, later I get the chance to work with many studios, but I think starting with that, it was good because most people start the nowadays is like you get internship or a junior position, then you start growing, learning inside the
Yeah.
studio, inside the environment. So starting as a freelancer, like skills your fear a little bit.
Of
So
course.
it helps a lot
Yeah.
because even when I started working with studios later, it was something that I realized that I really like to do, like work with different teams, different
Mm.
projects, a diverse kind of production,
Yeah.
and I had this generalist side, so it was like it's something that I could drop at a certain point,
Hmm.
being freelance, but I never did because I really like the creative
The
aspect of
variety, the
it. Yes,
shorter projects. Yeah, absolutely.
exactly. So I that's why I told you I consider myself an animation artist because I am not focused on one thing only. At a certain point, I had to be focused like in character animation and 3D animation, but
Yeah.
I kept doing the other stuff as well because I like the flow between
All right. Yeah.
all the fields, you know.
Absolutely. So we have somebody else from Brazil here, saying Mateo, saying hi from Brazil. Mateus
Hi.
Pinheiro. So, and I think because I know that both Rex and Daniel need to go quick, I think we need to actually answer some of these questions before we continue because I have more questions for you guys. But Chromosome, major shout out to him because he is like he answers. He's very talented. He's very experienced, and normally he answers questions on the stream. So if you have questions for us, definitely Chromosome can help. So massive shout out to him. And there's a bunch of questions here in the begin at the start that we can go through. So I think, oh man, there's so many. This is great. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Right on, guys.
So there's so many that I'm having trouble kind of scrolling because it resets again.
Oh no.
So okay, I'm gonna go with this one from Chromosome. How much does your location affect your business and opportunities you get? I think we can go around again. Maybe we can go the opposite way, and maybe Juliana, you can tell me is because Malta is a very peculiar place. We don't know many people
Yeah.
from Malta, so how does that affect your business?
Actually, the it affects me most to be in Europe, actually,
Hmm.
because I used to do freelance in Brazil, but when I moved here, like almost 8 years ago, I was like nobody knew me, nobody. So in Brazil, people knew me, so I have like a constant flow of freelancing and jobs. Here,
Right.
it was a problem, but I realized there is another aspect. That being here, being in Malta, it gave me like a lot of exposition. So I think right now, and here they have like some incentives to game studios here
Hmm.
locally.
In
So
Malta, yeah, yeah.
yes, so this helped me a lot. So it's a small community, so you get used to know people very fast. So in this sense, being on a small place
Hmm.
that the community is not that big, it helps a lot.
That's
So
amazing.
I think it's a little bit different to be like if I was in Brazil, for example, São Paulo, that's giant,
It's
like
giant, yeah.
Tokyo, that Rex said.
Exactly.
So you have a lot of competition. I don't like much competition word because it sounds like you are against each other, but
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
you have more options, let's say, of freelancing to do. So
makes sense.
I don't know if it's the word is it's hard to get along, but being on a small place like me, definitely the geography helps a lot.
That's amazing. What about you, Will, from Bulgaria? Do you think that affects you, the opportunities you've been getting so far?
It's hard to tell because everything is online more or less. Most of my
Hmm.
connections. There's some random coincidences, like one of my clients. It turns out his wife is Bulgarian, and they're coming to visit next spring, and they're visiting the town, and it's like 20 kilometers away from us. And he's in California, so. And then I had like a YouTuber that was helping promote some of my add-ons, and he turns out he's from Bulgaria originally as well. So yeah, there's lots of little random connections, but I think it's a small industry. Yeah, I got some connections with people doing little bits here, but I think most of my clients really are either in the States, mainland Europe. Even I got a client in Egypt and stuff as well. So I think because everything now is online, I think it's harder to network person to person, but at the same time, I still know enough people from my years in the industry that have helped me to
Right.
still have those connections. If I had to start fresh, maybe that would have been an issue, you know.
So that initial the few years, because you were here in the UK for how long? For like was quite a
I
while, right?
was like 17 years in England.
17 years. So
Yeah.
those years in the UK kind of like fostered a bunch of connections in different companies that then basically allowed you to
Yeah.
actually have freelance work all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
makes complete sense.
Yeah.
What about you, Dan? Like, how does it feel? Because you're in Germany. Which town is it in Germany?
Near Munich, in the
Near
south.
Munich. Okay, and how do you feel that affects your freelance gigs?
I think so. In general, in Europe, you're sitting right in the middle of everything,
Yeah.
so it's a good place to, in terms of time zones.
Yeah.
But it's also a lot of my clients are very far away, like either in the States, in Japan, and I think it's Europe might sound like like a hub or like a place where there's a lot happening, but I think the games industry isn't doing super well in Europe.
Hmm.
There's- the governments here they should subsidize things a lot more than they do. And so if I look around, I still see a lot of studios, medium size, big size in Europe, not doing super great. So I don't know if it's really helping me being in Europe, but the time zone helps for sure. And you know you there's a lot happening. So you have a lot of studios. You have studios in all of Scandinavia, you have studios in France, you have studios
Yeah.
in Great Britain, you have studios in Poland, in Ukraine, and Russia, you have studios in Spain, yeah, you have studios in the Netherlands. Like you have a few studios in Germany, so there's a lot happening. But as I said, currently there's not a lot of long-term projects or things happening. So um, I think you can't avoid building long range relationships, say to LA or say to Tokyo, or like it has to be part of the job. And
Exactly. Like not being picky with opportunities when they come, right?
no, no,
100%. And what about you, Rex, from Japan? Obviously, you are at one extreme of the time zone, right?
Yeah.
The other one will be LA. So how does that affect the
Um,
opportunities?
yeah, great question. How does geography affect? Well, I'm in Tokyo, so there's lots of opportunity here. So if you're in Tokyo and you want to be local, and you have the network, which I believe Daniel had mentioned,
Hmm.
then yeah, it's very sustainable in Tokyo. But greater opportunities are global. And you mentioned, Harvey, there's a time zone issue. And I think that when I'm working with Rekindled in the UK, it's kind of on the cusp of like what would be
What's
cool
doable?
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys aren't pushing me or anything.
Yeah.
I'm working, it's all good, but just the time zone difference.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm a little bit tired at the end of the
No,
day.
makes sense. Makes
Um,
complete sense.
but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's even maybe more apparent with North American clients.
Yeah.
Um, so definitely geography does matter, but also I think Daniel, you also mentioned, maybe you didn't say it exactly, but there's a certain amount of discipline that a freelancer must have, especially working remotely. You have to be self-motivated. You have to be very responsible and reliable, and it's all on you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that comes into play in terms of myself with time zones. Um, just try to be as reliable as possible and get your stuff done at as high a quality as possible. Um, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Being
but yeah,
professional.
definitely the geography does matter.
Does matter. Yeah, yeah, which is great for people to know because our meetings,
Mm,
like when we meet, our first meeting in the morning happens at your 9 p.m.,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which is hardcore. So yeah, I completely agree with you, man. So Amaresh, and Amaresh is actually working with us as well at Rekindle. So like it's really good to see Amaresh here. So he
Oh, he's
asked,
there.
yeah, he's here,
Hey,
Amaresh.
dude.
Thanks a lot for being here, man. How do you manage a situation where the client you're working with is not in sync with your working style, be it the team culture, type of project, etc.? Basically, when things don't line up, which is something that happens in freelance quite a lot, and I'm pretty sure we all felt it. So, Rex, you can go first if you don't mind. What happens then? And you can maybe talk about your company as well, include that in the answer, because I'm pretty sure you must have had that.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't really had any notable issues with that. The companies and people I've worked with have been pretty flexible, um,
That's
and
great.
I've also been flexible as well. So it's yeah,
It's been a smooth ride.
I wouldn't. I mean, it's part of business is also it's not always about your way all the time, right?
Mm,
And even
quite
if a company is bigger than you and they provide the work for you, it's it would behoove them to also be flexible as well,
mm.
which I've experienced and definitely, yeah, I just don't have I don't have anything
I know
notable to
why you
say.
don't.
I'm sorry.
I know why you don't, Rex, because you're amazing to work with, and you're
Oh
just so
my
chill and
gosh,
respectful, man.
Harvey.
This is
Oh,
how you roll.
Christmas gift. Christmas gift.
So going backwards, so Will, like I'm pretty sure you must have, because I know you have, because you worked at Eurocom. But what? Have you had any point in your career like that you had experiences that you felt frustrated, or they felt frustrated, or you didn't see eye to eye in at a client level?
Yeah, I think in the studios definitely it was harder, especially if you see things happening that's not good for the studio, it's not good for the people, and it's not good in the long run. And it's just like a culture thing that's so baked in, um, that and the management is not really motivated to get rid of it because they think they get more out of people, but in the long run they actually get less.
Agree.
Um, um, so but I found game clients to be my best clients generally because I think there's a certain kind of like mindset and openness and openness to criticism and things like that that's in
Hmm.
games. I've had the most probably trouble I've had is actually with like some film clients and TV clients and things like that,
Oh,
where it's actually and maybe it's just because it's more like indie films and stuff. It seems things just seem so chaotic and like people do organization over email chains and stuff, and
I
it just seems
see.
like we're so organized compared to them.
That's
Um,
interesting. So are you saying, Will, that games is better than TV and film? Is that what you're saying?
oh, absolutely. Yeah. For working for
I just
definitely.
want to hear that.
Games is chill compared to like that kind of work.
Okay.
And I've only dipped my toe, but that's mainly why I stayed mostly in games because it's just a nicer kind of like environment to work in generally. Um, So yeah, there's a few. Haven't had major problems with games. Maybe because a lot of my clients they appreciated the fact that I had quite a lot of experience from before,
Mm.
so they would actually take what I say on board. And generally, when we were talking about me getting on board, generally we got a certain vibe, and those, if they connected to me, then generally, I joined them. So it's been good in that way. Um, yeah, but generally in games, generally it's all right. Studios politics can get heavy, but if you're outside the studio system, generally I think it's better.
That's a good point. So would you say that when you work freelance, you have less politics and more smoothness when it comes to work delivery than when you are working full time in a big studio?
Yes, you almost can opt out of some of the politics a little bit.
Mm,
If you're freelance, you can take some of it on board, but I've been careful not to take too much of it on board. I try
okay,
to keep a little bit of a balance. Yeah.
that's great. That's great. What about you, Dan? Have you had one of those?
Yeah, uh, yeah, I've seen a lot of different studios around the globe, and they had all different mindsets, and some were complete opposite mindsets. I never really had like places where I wasn't, feeling I could be myself or I could do my best work. But I did have places where I definitely needed to kind of reinvent myself a little bit, like brush up on my style, brush up on my craft, um, take this feedback really in and really do something for it. And at some other places, I, just had to really jump in the boat with all the organizational stuff, with all the lingo, with all the all the new rituals and routines and things. So there's a lot of different things that you will jump in when you visit so many studios. But as I said, it's like you're putting more things on your tool belt every time. So I see it like this. Um, and yeah, I guess in the end, no, I never really had a place where I was like, this doesn't work for me at all.
That's
I,
great.
I, I saw people where they were like, oh, this is not me or something, and luckily I wasn't I
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
like this.
great.
I could, kind of like arrange myself with it,
Yeah,
or like get in the boat.
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really, really good. I think there's two things also popping up here, which is I think freelance freelance is better than full-time jobs in studios. So that's one. Obviously much easier. And second, I think as well, like it might be something that maybe the audience doesn't see, but I definitely see where it comes to longevity in the industry and having this flexibility with the fact that you don't take things personally and his work is work. And I think that we all feel the same way when it comes to like if they give you feedback, don't take it personally. It's just a job, do the thing. And I think that is basically what allows you to have that longevity, not burn out, not feel like, pissed off or anything like that. And that helps a ton to detach yourself a little bit from the work, right? So Giuliano, lastly, do you had any of these clients, because you've been freelancing for longer than us, have you ever had any of these kind of situations? Oh, you muted. Oh, you're good. You're good.
No, I'm good. Yeah. At this point, I think this comes with age and maturity, and of course with the years that you are doing the craft.
Yep.
But today I work like that. I try to definitely working with freelance to not to big studios or with most studios like indie studios. It's way more flexible.
Hmm.
So the dialogue for me, transparency is key, and flexibility, as Rex mentioned. This avoids a lot of stuff because the studios, as Will mentioned, the bureaucracy and the rituals and everything else, like it's hard to manage. So you need to fit them. But if you are on an indie or doing like for another person, like more informal, you have flexibility to they fit a little bit to you, and you know the flexibility. So it's very rare to have a problem with that if you set this guidelines at the very start. Like
Yeah.
I have a full-time job now. Uh, so when someone approaches me to do freelance, this the first thing that I ask is, do you need a freelancer that works like for a daily rate, like you are hiring me to be full time for a week, for example, or we are working with deadlines and you need this by this time, whatever. So if this doesn't fit the way that I work, usually I don't take it because
Nice.
I like to be transparent and clear with the client. Let's say I can't fit your expectation to be like full time for you, like for a
Makes sense.
week,
Yeah,
because I
makes
have a
sense.
full time job and I am always clear about that. So if you are flexible enough so we can work around that deadline, it's perfect. So
Yeah.
usually if you set this at the start, you will not have much problem. So I don't have much struggles with that.
That's amazing. That's actually a good point as well, because I think a lot of times, especially in the beginning, you feel like if there's any work, you just take it. You don't ask questions. You don't like stipulate anything. But one of the good things about freelance is that you can set parameters, and then if
Yeah.
both parties agree and is a match, then we can
And,
work
and
together.
and it's tricky because if you are starting as freelance, you want to get all the work that you can.
Exactly.
So usually you forget about these things, and if you are not careful enough, things will overlap very soon, and
Yeah.
then it will complicate yourself and for the client as well.
Yeah, exactly. And just to add there something there as well is that the first thing that you see as freelancing is money because you
Yeah,
can
of
get the
course.
money and especially you get money without tax, so you think it's more than it is, but then you have to pay. So that's a bunch of stuff. So definitely money is the thing at the top of your mind. But what you'll find out as well is that as you start freelancing, not all the money is money that you should take in because you need to uphold your standards as an artist. And they might pay you more, they might actually offer you more or whatever, but there needs to be a line there. And it really depends on the person that you need to say, no, this doesn't fit me. And I know that what
Yeah.
I'm getting into, or either is because of the politics, is it because of the people, because of whatever it is. But you need to kind of set that line in the sand that like I prefer not to get less to get a better job instead, and that's kind of important for you to do, right? I think that's true of all of us, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to just ask questions. I had my own questions, but we're getting so many that I'm going to just like continue asking questions. So we have quite a really good question by Chromosome. Let me just try and find it. I'm scrolling up. One second. One second. Ta-ta-tam. Here.
He's finding that, Rex, I just had a look, and Tokyo Center has got 14 million people, and the greater area has got 41 million people, and the whole of Bulgaria has only got 6 million people.
I know.
It's so many
I
people.
know. It's so crowded here, man.
Okay, so here's a good question from Chromosome. So, like, since we're talking about starting freelancing, any tips on starting that journey? And would you recommend the same advice for novices or senior animators, or maybe lead animators, since we have lead animators here as well, and directors? How do you go about starting that journey, given that the world is changing so fast? And I'll direct the question to Juliana first again, so we can go backwards.
Uh, Lately, I have been answering this kind of question with basketball, because I play basketball, and I started playing basketball very very late in my life because I love it, but I never had the opportunity to play it when I
Yeah,
was very young. So
yeah, yeah.
I started late, and one of the things, one of the teachings that basketball gave me, it was you need to gain respect so people know they can trust you. So
Yeah.
it's the same. It's the same with your career. You need to build and craft respect and reputation, that you are good what you are with what you are doing, and you are responsible and you are reliable. So once you are clear with that, people will start talking about, and you are start showing good stuff. So then you start building a network, and this network will create a flow of jobs. Of course, it's not overnight.
Of course.
Everyone expects that, but it's kind of this workflow that I realized that happened, at least for me.
Nice one. And I think it's very valid because you were the only one of us that doesn't have industry experience at first and then move to freelance.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of people out there that actually want to start from cold turkey into freelance maybe. And I think that that advice is great for anybody there. And Will, how would you say that you should start freelancing now?
Well, yeah, so I think it's different if you're just starting out, that's tough. So I was talking to James the other day, Carlo's through Kindle as well. It turns out she's one of his proteges.
Right.
I found out that later, and I was talking to him about that, and he's saying, yeah, now he has to train people up, even for starting position to mid or senior level, if they to even have a chance of getting into the industry, and I think that's probably true. So it's tough. It's tough to start there. The standards are really high, but in the end, I think the overarching rule in the end is you're working with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
So I think the best thing I've done in my career is, even if I'm working at the studios and things like that, I was always working with my friends. And if the studio wanted me to choose between my friends and them, I normally lean towards my friends instead.
100%.
And in the long run, man, that paid off because people know you, and it comes back to being reliable. They know they can trust you. They know you're going to get the job done. And at the end of the day, a company is paying you for a reason. They want quality animation, and basically, if you don't deliver quality animation to them, why should they pay you? So
Sure.
you just gotta be good. You just got to get to a point where you're good enough that they get value for their money. But to get there, it's a journey, and it's so for newer people, if you can get into studio, it's good to get that experience. If you want to go straight off, try to get in with people who's also starting off and doing like some project that might turn into something, and that experience you can then take, and it can come better, and then you become attractive to companies that see you real and say, okay, you can do it, and as you get to know people, slowly it starts to snowball, but it's tough to start.
Completely. A good point there about the journey, though, because I do think that especially for the younger animators, they want to just make the transition and make it happen overnight. Like it's funny though, and I'm gonna sound like an old man, but a lot of people told me this, and I didn't listen, and hopefully newcomers will listen. But genuinely, like as much as you want to speed up things, doing things slowly and building connections and actually like taking your time, and instead of building just a network just for the sake of network, and actually spending time with people, be friends. Will and I, like, we spend so many nights doing overtime eating pizza and talking about just nothing because there was nothing to do. They used to force us to do overtime. Remember that, Will?
Yeah.
They used to force us to do overtime, and they were like, well, if there's no animation work, we've done our work, then let's just talk about life. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
talked about South Africa, talking about all kinds of stuff. But those connections become then like in the future your best things, and it takes time for you to build those things. It takes time for you to grow. It takes time for people to get to certain positions that give you the advantage. Like the junior animators of today are going to be the leads and directors of the future. So you need to allow that time to pass in order for those things to come true, if that makes sense. And yeah, it's really important. So yeah, I hope people listen. I like so Daniel, what about you? What do you think? How would people start now?
What you guys said was pure gold. Like you guys, like is super. Like this is fantastic stuff you just dropped, because this is exactly my experience. Like it like it also depends on which position you work in a team. Sometimes you're in a management position, sometimes you're in an artist position, and yeah, like really like making sure that you're that you're a respectable person in general, an authentic person. I think that's, at least for me, that is where, I know I can build my network just by being myself,
That's it.
and people know that I am myself all the time. Um, that helps a lot, because like there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of deadlines, a lot of milestones, there's a
Yeah.
sometimes project things, sometimes money issues, or what it is. But if I'm myself, and if I'm like, if I have a saying, if I can look in the mirror in the evening and I see myself in there, then I know, I've done good, I've done well for the day, and I
Yeah.
know that all my friends and colleagues will think the same. And that means that, as you said, the seniors today are the leads or the animation directors tomorrow. And for some, that journey is lightning fast.
Mm.
So uh, I might be working for an animation director who was just a colleague a year ago. And
100%.
yeah, but that's amazing, because these folks, there are some folks who grow really fast and
Yeah.
really intense, and it's motivating.
Mm.
It's inspiring. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's amazing. No, I agree. Like great points. And for you, Rex, especially if you don't mind from that Japanese perspective as well, because I know that growing as an animator that is different from the Western world. So based on I think you've been there for 17 years. It's been now
15, about
15.
15 years.
So like how would you say for the Eastern looking animators, how would you actually start freelancing?
Well, I can only speak from my experience, and actually, I can draw from Giuliano what he had said early on, where uh, in Brazil he knew a lot of people, but then when he moved to Malta,
Mm.
he had to start from zero in terms of his network. Um, and I would say that I had the same, very similar, or the same experience here as well. But I think maybe the um, the common thread between what we all are talking about
Yeah.
for the advice for people who are thinking of getting into freelance is, and not to sound so dry and clinical about it, but it is a network.
Yeah.
And it's about the connections that you build over
Mm.
the course of your career, um, how people regard you as a human being. Are you a good human? Are you a reliable person?
Mm.
Um, all of those things that we judge each other on, if they trust you, those take time to build. Um, so I was thinking, what kind of advice would I give a new artist, a new animator who wants to try freelancing? Um, I don't know. I think it's kind of like a chicken and egg type
Chicken
of
and egg
thing, right?
situation. Yeah, it's difficult
Because
to start.
yeah, to have the network and the people to trust you, you got to work with them and have that experience.
Yeah.
Um, so, but if you want to start early, then you don't really have that experience or network. But maybe, you can start from school if you're going to like an art school, or learning the craft at university or whatnot.
Yeah.
There's no bad time, or it's never too early to start um, networking. And again, I don't want to make it sound like it's all business. Like, networking is just having more people know you, right?
Yeah.
Uh, what it comes down to, whether it's friendships or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I guess in our freelance kind of work, the networking is human and business all together.
That's it.
So, if you don't have the experience and you're maybe going to school, just as an example, just start with your human networks, right? Like your classmates or whatnot. You're all there for the same reason. You're studying the same thing. You have a passion for the same stuff. And sure, you all want to get a job, but those friendships that you build there, with the commonality of what you guys love and what your aims are and goals are, that could also build something in the future as well. So
Absolutely.
maybe I'm a bit long-winded with
No, no,
that,
no,
but
no. It's actually
you know,
great.
I think that
Yeah,
everybody, basically, we're all saying the same thing, that, yeah, the network,
the network.
um,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, is very
I
important.
I was just thinking of something actually,
Mm,
like yeah, for somebody starting out new. I think if you can
Mm.
train with somebody who's active in the industry, you know, and you
yeah,
can prove
mentor.
yourself to that person
Hmm.
like a mentor, and you can prove yourself to that person, that's one way in.
That's true.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
that's what happened to this woman as well. Is very talented, just starting out. She started chatting to people, started saying, "Oh, she really wants to learn." Really dug in, really did her best, worked really hard, and then some projects came up and said, "Oh, we know her. Can she come on board?" You
That's
know,
it.
and now she's got to start. You know, sort of that's one way to do it.
Completely. Yeah,
Hmm.
mentorship is massive. Like I actually
Mm.
mentor people, and I actually got some people some jobs because of that. Because you can see how they
Nice.
think, how they work, how they apply themselves, and you know
Hmm.
this person is going to do well. So you just go like this person if you're looking for a junior or somebody.
Yeah.
And I think your point though, Rex, as well about making connections at uni or at school goes a long way because I pretty much everybody that I know that actually went to uni or university and stuff, and then actually had a friend and made it into MPC or like there's always one that makes it, and everybody's
Yeah.
jealous of that one. I know I had one,
Right.
but
Yeah.
then that one might actually give you like a good word, like oh, if you're looking for another one, then there's my friend here as well. So
Right.
it might be your
Yeah.
way in as well.
Yeah.
For sure.
I
For
was just
sure.
like, you know, our Eurocops situation. So there we were, the company sort of like, I mean, it was a nice company in terms of the people and stuff. And
Yeah,
it
the
used to
people.
be a nice company when they started out, but
Mm.
then it slowly, but even at a company that wasn't that good,
Yeah,
from that company, I got to know Harvey. I'm working with him now on stuff. I
Mm.
worked on, and every single triple A title I worked on since I've gone freelance is all Eurocom connections.
that's it. That goes to
Yeah,
show
you
that's
know,
one
Martin
company.
McLean, you know, just
Wow.
say, you know, so you,
Yeah,
James as well, you know, sort of like it's that's all
that's
those
incredible.
contacts. It's like, oh, I remember, well, yeah, we can trust him. He'll get this done.
That's
You
it.
know, and
Nice.
that's how you, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Amazing. So, like, here's another question from Chromosome. So, everybody watching, thank you so much for all the comments. Keep them coming. I can see them coming in. Chromosome is definitely winning the race of the questions, so don't let him win. Make sure you actually like pump some questions to our way as well, so we can actually answer them as well. But he has a really good questions because he has done freelance before and he felt like an outsider, only working to produce assets, and that he likes to be part of the production and the cycle and bringing my expertise to the table. So how do you avoid that outsider feeling, which I think that is something that people think is very much like a downside of freelance. This is why a lot of people want to work for the company so they can get the thing on the CV, on the resume, and all this other things. So maybe start with you, Rex. How do you avoid? I mean, in Rekindle is different, right? Because we embed it.
Hmm.
But how do you avoid that feeling of being an outsider just producing stuff?
Um, how do I avoid feeling that way? Uh, I think that's also maybe something to do with the company that you're working for. So is the question more like, what can I do to kind of be more a part of the process?
Of the process? Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I guess in meetings or any stand-ups or whatnot that you have.
Yeah.
Um,
I think you're right about thinking that is about the company though, because
yeah,
companies deal with outsourcers differently, right? And
yeah.
and some allow more closeness to than others. So I think
Hmm.
that ultimately is going to be, I don't know if you think the same, Rex, but I think ultimately it's basically like what do they allow you to do as a freelance? Some just want
Sure.
animation and some just want
Yeah.
you to be part of it and have tell us what you think.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. I would say that, and it's no knock on any company that has their own style or their own culture, um, but it's kind of like a company. They know who they are and they know their staff, and if anybody new is coming in, it's kind of the onus is kind of on the company to uh, extend the hand to people who are new.
Yeah.
It's a bit more difficult for somebody who is new to approach like a group and then you know um, expect them or hope that they would allow them in. So I would say that maybe if there are any company owners or anything listening, like if you do want to have give a feeling of ownership and people being a part of the process,
Mm.
I would say that maybe the responsibility is more to the company. But at the same time, I don't know. I mean, Rekindle is so awesome.
Yeah.
I like hit it off with so many people right off the bat. But, and I'm not saying that there is, like, I really appreciate that and I'm grateful for that. But it could also be me. That's why I was wondering what the question was exactly, whether it
Yeah.
was directed at the company and whatnot. But I'm a pretty open guy. And like Harvey, you and I, when we
Mm.
have our one-on-ones, like we joke around and
That's it.
we talk about things that maybe you wouldn't necessarily one wouldn't necessarily talk about in front of like a group of people, you know.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but I'm just speaking for myself. Like I'm okay to be open and kind of put myself out there, but maybe other people are not so
Mm.
much like that. So, yeah, I guess it's maybe the responsibilities either on the company or the individual. I
Yeah.
think both need to, like, if you are
Work
kind of
together.
introverted, if you want to be a freelancer who makes those connections, actually, that's a good one too.
Hmm.
You kind of have to show who you are. And to do that, you kind of gotta put yourself out there. And
Exactly.
if you are introverted, just don't be afraid of putting yourself out there, you know.
That's
And
so
that
smart.
takes time to build up as well.
100%.
Sorry, long-winded again.
No,
I'm
no, no.
sorry,
You
guys.
never long-winded, man. That was an amazing answer because I do think it's both sides, man. It's exactly as you said. It's like, like the company needs to be welcoming, but at the same time, if you're an introverted animator, then you don't say anything. Then it's difficult
Yeah,
for the company to kind of get your idea. So, if you want to be heard, you need to say stuff in order to
yeah,
basically, right, to actually kind of like make a
yeah,
difference. Right? It makes
for
complete sense.
sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, what about you, Dan? What do you
Mm.
think?
I totally second that. That
Yeah.
is like either it's the time zone difference that makes things hard because sometimes you have people are tired when you're just woken up and you're
Yeah.
energized, or it's the other side, it's the other way around. But like I find like when I really want to be part of the team, I want to be part of a product, I want to be part of a group of people, of a culture, of a certain game or a certain something, or then I try to I try to own as what I can, like
Hmm.
I try to give as much as I can in terms of the animation, in terms of the ideation, in terms of I try to go all out and really generate that trust from the team, because
Mm.
on the other side, yeah, they might, that might be an on-site team, but still they're all individual artists who are looking after their discipline and they are relying on you to a big degree. So if you can, if you can team up whenever the occasion arises, then you're building that trust. And I had, I had the most intense and empathic and like fantastic relationship with a team in LA. We were like top level production wise. We were like one person, single mind entity. It
Nice.
was
Like
insane.
a
And
beehive.
it was,
Yeah.
I've never had this before. I never believed in something like this, to be honest,
Right.
as well. But it happened, and it's just because everyone wants it. And so that's not always the case with every studio. This is definitely not the case with every studio.
Mm.
Every studio is different, and because it's always the multitude of coincidences and of a lot of things that make up this cocktail that that allows for it or it doesn't allow for it. So it's not really anyone's choice to do it, but sometimes, if you own things and if you're showing that you're really invested and
Hmm.
Yeah.
that you're really passionate about something, and you want to make it as good as possible, and people, see
Yeah.
that, then they pull you in the boat, and it doesn't really matter if you're on site or not.
Completely.
But but there can be the situation where just the entire culture is just in a way where kind of everyone is just, you know, doing the work and handing it in.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then what I do is I try to team up on a side project with people that I'm very aligned with, where the chemistry is uh, really good, and it gives me a balance. You know, it balances me out a lot. It like people call it moonlighting, and it took me decades to know what moonlighting is, but now I'm doing it for one or two or three other studios, and it's what's I enjoy that, and it can balance things out a lot, and that balance is at the end of the day what keeps me happy and what keeps you going, I would say.
Makes sense. Like that's really, really cool. I think that we keep talking about networking just for everybody watching, and I think that network aspect of you connecting with others and making connections, it's also true when you work freelance with studios. Because if you become the person that Daniel and Rex just mentioned about being outspoken, actually having a voice, and they liking your work and being professional, and that is more sustainable for you to get a job long term than you just delivering assets. Because eventually those assets, you're gonna run out of assets to make, and they'll be like the job is done, and then you don't have a job anymore. But if you become that person that is outspoken, that actually has a lot of opinions and can help out, all of a sudden you have another dimension that you can help the studio with. So sometimes I had studios that the assets ran out, but we're like working with Harvey. What else can we give him? And then because they want to keep you as a person because now you made that connection, right? And that's really important. So it's almost like a must if you want to be successful in freelancing. It's very much that layer, that is personal layer, human connection. If you master
Yeah,
that, then that's it. You're gonna get jobs up the wazoo. You're gonna have to say no to stuff.
for
It's gonna
sure.
happen to you.
So
I guess in a sense that's kind of like sales. Like
Yeah,
freelancers, we kind
absolutely.
of need to sell ourselves, but we're kind of selling ourselves every day when we work with people, like to build that trust and build the rapport,
Yeah,
and build the relationships. But of course, without the focus of it being sales, you just want to be a respected and kind of valued
a professional.
person
Yeah,
to work with, right? Yeah. So, yeah, that's a good point, actually, Harvey.
100%. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, actually, just coming, I was just thinking like connecting to a team. So
Hmm.
there's two lower points. So the one is sometimes if you at like a big studio. So I had like a few situations where it's like a big, big studio board, like a bunch of other small studios, and the whole corporate structure got really heavy. And then you get like a job coming into one of those, and I had like a bit of a buffer because I had like a friend there who was then lead. He used to be my junior animator, and he became lead there. And he said, "Oh, get well on board, come and help." So I had like personal connections, so that helped. But at the same time, in that particular situation, you don't really want to get involved too much because they got so politically heavy that
Exactly.
maybe you do want a little bit of that distance. So that situation can come up as well.
That's true.
And normally, if a team is worth connecting to, they will connect to you, and
Yeah.
that will be the better experiences as well. They will invite you in more as the projects, that do want you to be part of it,
Yeah.
and that's normally the better ones anyway. Sometimes they you're just there for a short time. They don't want to build a connection. That's fine,
That's
So
okay.
like
Yeah.
the next one might be better, so you can move on. And then the other thing is, if you're a person, I'm all right just speaking to a whole group, but I I I always found like if you're not a person, and naturally, if I'm in a social situation, I'd rather speak person to person. So if you're in a team and you find the whole thing very intimidating, just start chatting to individual people in the
Hmm.
group, and over time you'll feel, more, more integrated into the team, building like one-on-one connections, like just one at a time, slowly, and
Agree.
then also in the long run, then you'll feel much more comfortable in that team as well.
Yeah. Wise words, Will.
Good
100%.
advice.
Yeah. What about you, Giuliano? What would you say?
I think I am remember I was on a panel last week about hiring artists for games and whatever, but we spoke a lot about what the HR calls soft skills. So I think
Yes.
this matter
That's good.
touches a lot in soft skills because, and I along my career I start paying more attention into that because I was like very introverted.
Yeah.
So usually when I am in a position of hiring or supervising or whatever, I pay attention to the introverts because of this that Rex mentioned, that if you are let's say an extrovert or someone that has easy communication skills, it's a thing. You will get there like slowly, and of course it is a two-way thing. The company needs to reach out as well, but this is like a perfect scenario, right? And there is the introvert that is always quiet there. So I think this companies should think this, put this inside the future development of the company, so everybody's covered. But I am always talking about with people that I do mentorship or I am trying to help, like starting artists. I talk a lot about soft skills, not always with this name, soft skills, because
Yep.
it's very corporate. But in the end, it's about relationship and connection and creating, as we spoke at the start, like creating trust, creating like a network that trusts you and you can trust. And of course, if it is a company, the environment counts a lot. So
Yep.
I think it is in the end, it's a two-way relationship that you need to pay attention, and you need to nurture, you
Yeah.
need to reach out, and you expect that the company reaches out as well.
Perfect. No, that's a great answer as well. So I hope you guys are enjoying it. I need to actually take a break because I at in Rex time, it's actually
Oh,
like 3:30 in the morning or 4:30 in the morning.
4:30.
So
It's
Oh,
okay.
Rex,
I'm having a good time. But
do you
yeah, I
want to?
think I do need to go.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
I don't know if there's a Japan specific question. Not to say that, Japan is all that, but I know
I I
animators who are
I
just
I
curious.
I have a Japan specific question. I haven't seen any, but I'd love to know.
Okay, that's okay. If that's the case, we should probably take a break,
Yeah.
and I
Oh
probably
man, I
should.
was gonna ask one. Yeah, yeah, no, but that makes sense. Yeah, it's
Oh wait, oh,
4:30 in the
you
morning.
have one. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Um,
Do you
would you
have
mind
time?
asking that now? I can stay for your question
Yes, please.
if
So
you're okay, because I know that you need a break. You're tired.
me?
Is that
No,
right?
I'm good. I'm good to go. It's
I
only
thought you said you needed a break.
no,
Oh,
no, no, no.
okay.
It's good. It's good. I was just wanting to let you go, because it's so
Oh,
late. But I'll ask my
okay.
question. Please feel free to
Sure.
answer it quickly.
Okay.
But if anybody on the west side of the world wants to actually go to Japan to be an
Mhm.
animator, because all of us have that dream, what would you say? What would you recommend it? And like, what would you say would be the best way to get a job in animation, for you to have fun animating in Japan?
Hmm. Okay. Uh, okay. This is my experience. That sounds like a loaded question there, Harvey.
I'm sorry. Feel free to dodge it. Feel free to dodge it if you
Oh
like.
no, 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 no. I'll give you my take based on my experience, and somewhat also based on the experience of other animators, non-Japanese animators that I've met as well. Um, I guess most of this opinion is mine, and yeah, I guess there's an image about Japan, uh, and there's truth to it. But if you visited Japan, it's just like any other country, like visiting on holiday or sightseeing or whatnot. That's one thing, and then living there is a completely other thing.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying that living here is bad. I'm not saying that at all. But there are there are good points and bad points for both, and do try not to misconstrue your visit with living here because they are vastly different things. Um, so that said, uh, and I don't want to burst anyone's dream or bubble, and I'm just being real. Just, I guess, yeah. your visits here will not be the same as you living here.
As you're living here. I
Uh,
think you
yeah.
can leave it there, Rex, because I know.
Okay. But there are wonderful things about living here. There are wonderful things.
Yeah.
And some things are wonderful right away.
Hmm.
And other things need time for you to discover how how good they are.
Yeah.
Much like anywhere else in the world, you cannot see the real beauty right away on many things, and the same is here. So, yeah, that's all I'll
Amazing.
say.
Answer it like a pro. Thank you so much, Rex, for
Oh my
joining
God.
us. I highly appreciate
Okay,
it. It's really,
guys,
really
all
cool.
of you. Yeah, nice meeting you guys.
Thanks for joining the trip.
Daniel, yeah,
Yeah.
good meeting you. Giuliano, you as well, and
Same.
Willem. Harvey, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. See you tomorrow.
Or
Bye bye.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye,
let's
Rex.
go on.
Bye
Um,
guys.
Daniel, do you wanna go as well, or do you wanna stay
I'm gonna have to clock out too.
as
I'm
well?
sorry.
Okay. No problem. Any last words, Daniel, before you go?
This was awesome, Javi. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
And it was awesome to listen to you guys, and it was really nice to get to know you. I hope we can keep in touch, and this was a really cool panel.
I
Yeah,
agree.
nice to meet you, man.
You guys are amazing.
Cool.
Thanks,
Nice to
Daniel. You were
Take
amazing.
care.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye. So now we were five, six, and now we're three. There's three of us, five. But we're gonna have David join us. David is actually here in the chat already. He's called Solid here in the chat, but he will actually join us. David is another freelance that can only join us for an hour, so he'll join us in a bit. Will, Giuliano, there's a bunch more questions for us to tackle. But before we actually answer any more questions, I would like to take a moment because Giuliano. So two things. Will, we already interviewed Will here in the channel because he released a book about Unreal and actually animating in Unreal. And this was right at the beginning when Control Rig and all that stuff. Definitely check out our interview with him. Definitely going purchase the book because I think it's very thorough and he's definitely still valid nowadays. So I'm gonna drop a link down below in the comments in the comment section so you guys check it out. And it was a call written by you and who was the other call?
Henk Venter.
Hank, that's it. Will and Hank. So they did an amazing job. So definitely check it out. But Giuliano, even though we've been talking about with each other for a while, is the first time that we have him here. And I want to take a moment because Giuliano just had a massive moment because he released a comic as well as of the last week. I want to say, Giuliano, has it been a week or
Yeah.
two?
Yeah.
It's
1
been a
week.
week. And
Yeah.
and I think that basically I'd love to actually give you the floor so you can basically show us more about what the comic is, how it came about, and like once again, because we're talking about freelance, this is about the grind, and this is you do the grind really well. So I'd love for you to kind of share with us exactly what the book is about and how it came to be.
Thank you for the floor.
No problem.
So I released a comic. It was like a long waiting dream, let's say, because I grew up with comics, and at a certain point, this year or last year, I guess, it came to my mind, and then I was working with this Italian colorist, Veronica Fraleoni, and then we are talking about this because she's a comic artist as well, but we are doing another different project with animation, and she said, "Oh, if you want to do a comic, I can color the comic for you." So, oh, really? So things start happening. The story started like happening as well. But unbelievable. I don't know if this is a word. Unbelievable.
Yes, that's definitely a word.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not nowadays. So the pieces start coming together, and we started developing this, and finally, and then we set a date because Malta has this very small Comic Con every November. Say, okay, let's do it for the Comic Con. It was May, and then we started in May, then finish it in October, and it was amazing.
That's great.
So it's basically kind of a fantasy. He talks about the main character is a crow,
Yeah.
and he's the crow of a wizard, and something happened with the wizard, and the crow, he has a lot of issues of fear, guilty, and anxiety and whatever, and he's thrown into a journey to help his friend,
Do,
and
do,
then
do you want to share? Do you want to share the images of the comic while we're talking? Because you can,
uh,
if you have it.
yeah, oh, I can share.
You can. You can. Feel free. Feel free.
Oh, okay, so I was not prepared to share, sorry.
Like by the way, like David Solid said, heck yeah, Giuliano, supporting Giuliano as well. L Chu said, supporting Giuliano. Congrats on the comic release.
Let me find, I was not preparing to share, sorry.
No worries. No worries.
Like images, but I have them here, so of course. So let me open the.
While
Sounds like a
while while you do
sounds
that,
like a good game idea as well.
sounds like a good idea. I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Everybody when I start telling the story for some people to check. Hey, I'm thinking about this doing a comic with this story, and everybody, oh my God, this is a movie, this is a game. So
Yeah,
then it start growing inside of me. So let me share then.
nice one. Thanks a lot, David, for the fun stream. I'm glad you guys enjoying it. It's really, really cool. And let's check this comic out.
So I forgot. Oh my God, this this is the file that went to the
To the
printer, so
publishers.
it doesn't have the cover. But it's called the Book of Tarexis, and Tarexis is the name of the crow, and this is the crow and the wizard.
Oh,
And now I need. Oh, I can go to the pages here. So uh, so they live on this beautiful tree.
That's cool.
Yeah, and the art is amazing. I wrote the story and I did the drawings, and Veronica, she painted, and she's
Yeah,
very, very
wow.
talented.
really cool. Yeah, well done,
And then
Veronica. Oh,
yeah, then we show a little bit of their daily stuff, and then Tarexis has some visions, and I show his anxiety with like a different color palette and different mood always.
yeah,
So it's very interesting because it has a story and it has like a parallel, like the visions that he has guided by the fear and whatever. So
amazing.
uh,
Yeah,
really
really,
cool.
Very
But
big,
I will
very
not
amazing.
go page by page, okay? Because
Yeah,
it will take a lot of time and it will give you some spoilers. So but we have like a very nice story. The feedback that I'm getting from them, it's very, very interesting.
very
People like the
positive.
story and the visuals, of course.
Yeah.
wow.
And the reception at the Comic Con, it was like really, really amazing. So
I
it
bet it
is,
must have felt amazing to just take this to a place and then see people react live
yeah,
to,
man,
right?
it was like unbelievable,
I can
unbelievable.
imagine. I can imagine because after working so hard on it and then not knowing if these people are gonna care or not, and then seeing it,
Because when you are getting close to the date, you start thinking about, oh my God, uh, is this
is this
okay?
gonna work?
Is this gonna work? People will
Absolutely.
understand it. So you start questioning yourself. But when you
Absolutely.
see people's reaction, you oh my God, this is happening.
This is great, man. And like, can you tell people where they can get this to support you guys, to support
Yes,
you and
yes. And to create this, I created like a studio.
Mhm.
It's called Bullet Turtle.
Bullet Turtle? Cool, cool icon, by the
Yes,
way.
bulletturtle.studio. So if you
Love
go
it.
there, you will have more information about the story. And I set up a little shop that you can get your copy there. So if you do that, we are already, this is a two-part story. So this is the volume one. It's called Moonlight, as I showed here on the title. Moonlight. And second part, we are working that already. So it will be available very, very, very soon. So I appreciate any support. If people wants to go to the website, I guess I have
Yeah.
the
I'm,
website here.
I'm, I'm just
So
I'm just sending it as well to everybody so people can can
thank
go
you
and
very
check it out.
much.
No problem. But yeah, this is amazing, man, because I mean, oh, you're an animator. Like I think all animators, correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Most animators, I know I do, love comics because we
Yeah,
can see the correlation is like very much part of what we do, the images, the posing, all the craft, the coloring, the story. And
and it's super cool the way that Veronica did the color transitions between the moments, like tension, like more
Warm.
funny parts,
Colder.
and yeah, the
Yeah.
danger, and it's amazing. The visions that are totally different from the
Yeah.
narrative. So it's really amazing. I
Yeah.
really like to do that, and you can get some references like Akira. Don't tell anybody. With the motorcycle. You can get some Dark Knight, but don't tell Frank Miller, please. And it's really amazing. So it's not because I did it, but it's really beautiful.
No, but you
It's
should
Oh,
you
really
should brag.
beautiful.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
I'm really proud because it was a project that I was not expecting to do, like in
Mm,
my life. And suddenly I have a comic,
yeah.
and it's like done beautifully. And I always like it to write
Hmm.
because of the storytelling. Animators like storytelling, right?
Of course.
So it's something that came together unbelievably using my new word. So,
Love that new word. Yeah, absolutely.
so I hope people enjoy it, and if you can support me by buying a copy, it will be a pleasure.
Amazing. Definitely go and
I,
support Giuliano.
I sign it and post it to you. Don't worry.
Oh, signed
So,
as well for everybody in the
of
chat.
course.
Man, that's a
of
treat.
course.
That's a giveaway already.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Um,
I
yeah, no.
love the character design on the crow because it's not what I expected,
Mm,
but it
Oh,
from the
really?
frames that I've seen, it really goes with all these expressions and the mood and everything. Very, very nice character design.
yeah,
Nice. I really like to hear the feedback from other artists because it's different from like normal people, let's say.
that is amazing. Um,
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no, no, no. This is great, man. I appreciate you actually sharing this. And like, I think that since we're talking about freelance, the grind of actually the freelance and being given the fact that you're so comfortable with freelancing that not only are you doing your full-time job and doing freestyle of freelance gigs, but you also find the time to do this on top of everything, right?
Yes.
It must have been tough. It must have taken a lot of you to actually put this
That's
together.
hard to believe, and it was very hard to manage, but it's there. It's
I,
printed.
that's great. Actually, like since we are actually talking about this and Giuliano is here, actually Mateos has a good question about aspiring game industry freelancers in Brazil. What advice can you give? What strategies can you give them to help overcome the challenges of building a career from a third world country setting?
So I guess this is for me, right?
That's for you, 100%.
Uh, this is tricky. Coming from Brazil, I know what Matheus is talking about.
Yeah.
Especially today, not only in Brazil but everywhere with AI, it's becoming hard for junior artists, and it's something that I've been thinking about how the wave gonna crash soon because juniors are getting cut. So soon, the juniors will not become seniors. So in the future, will we have seniors? So
Yeah.
something to think about, right? But to start, usually the advice that I give to not only animators but all the artists is like do stuff. Of course, learn stuff
Yeah.
as much as you can. I am kind of software agnostic because I insist people learn the fundamentals, learn the concepts, because you will be prepared to press any button in any interface later. Because it's much faster you learn a software than to learn the craft that you need to sit and spend hours and hours and hours and getting good. And so if you, for starters, if you want to start, that is no secret, that is no magic formula. It's like do stuff, show your stuff, and again, be patient. We talk about this already. Be patient. It's not overnight, but you need to start doing. Because of AI, you can't like be discouraged. You can't. You need to do stuff, especially because of AI.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
put your signature there when you can. You can do your own vision. I learned from a book very early in my career that we as artists, uh, the opportunity we have is to show people a different kind of perspective that no one else has.
Yeah.
So we should use that. We are not doing masterpieces every time, but we need to do stuff. If we do stuff and we show stuff and we get better at doing stuff, at crafting, especially animation, that animation is crafting and it takes time to get good. uh, you land a job, you land a freelance job or studio job sometime, because the industry needs it, right? It's not everybody that starts that gets there, but the ones that insist and take time and are disciplined, they get where they want to be.
Great. That's super wise advice. And just so you know, as a reward for your advice, Carlos just bought a comic, so at least you have one sale.
Oh, that's good.
See? Thanks a lot, Carlos. Appreciate it, man. And also, we have this exactly the same question for you, Will, because, and let me just try and find it. But let me just see. Um, so we have this question here from Brandon that says, coming from South Africa, it was hard to get into the industry, and he got lucky. So what do you think animators from outside of major game hubs need to do to get in the industry? So I guess it's the same thing for you, Will, because you came from South Africa, same kind of situation. How did you make it?
Yeah, I think it sounds like Brazil is very similar to South Africa and the kind of like the size of the industry. And like when I was still there, it was like you work in ads, maybe some corporate videos, and there was one little game studio, but nothing really much going on. There's a bit more going on there now, um, but it seems to be there's a focus on training at some of the best colleges and things. So I lectured and studied at Open Window, which is quite expensive, and it's quite, one of the more prestigious colleges in South Africa to go to. Um, but I was there right in the beginning when they were just starting out. And I did like a graduation speech there at one point, and I told the students that basically it was always a mindset like I've studied now I can get a job. And I was telling them, listen, actually, you're just starting now. This is just your foundation. This is your foundation to learn the eye for art. To learn how to think about art, but you haven't got the skills yet. Now you're starting to build up your actual skills. And the students that were successful from there, they were all of them was the studying was the base minimum. That's just like a little foundation, and it's a small little foundation. They achieved everything they achieved on their own, what they did
Yeah.
beyond their studies and how they then carried on after that. It's like a very tiny little kickoff board. It's not your springboard to a career. It's all about the skills. And the thing is, like, these days, if you build up your skills and you get really good to senior, sort of mid-level, if you can get to that point, you'll start getting some jobs. And there's quite a lot of South Africans that I know now that used to work in the UK, some at Eurocom as well, but and all kinds of industries. Quite a few of them has gone back and they're working from there now. I've know artists there that's world class, that's working for studios all over the world, and they all do it online. There's one guy, he got a job at Weta, he didn't like New Zealand, and he came back to South Africa, and he's still working for on big projects and stuff. So um, there's there's definitely the world is open to you now, but you have to kind of like prove yourself. And if you can't do, there's people in South Africa who's also worked internationally. You can connect with those people. There's people there that's got amazing skills, that's got connections as well, and just build up those networks. And sometimes in a smaller place like that, it's easier to build up a network because everybody knows each other a little bit more.
Yeah.
If you can get those people with connections. And I mean, there is something starting to happen in South Africa. There's like a little movie studio there, and they're doing some nice stuff. But most of the guys who's kind of like international level, they tend to work for international studios, and their location doesn't seem to be a big problem.
Nice one. Yeah, I think that's actually like super super wise advice. And there's also like I feel like there's a sense here, and I'm just like looking at the overall theme that a lot of young animators sometimes feel like they're just waiting for the opportunity to come to them. And yeah, and I think to me that's a problem because like it's almost like the opposite. Like you need to work so hard that your work is so good that people cannot say no to you because you are so good at what you do. And sometimes you have luck. Sometimes you do get the right opportunity, especially if you finish university and get a job straight away and stuff. Sometimes the right stars align and it's great. But most people, I know I have, to me, it was hard to get in the industry. It took me 3 for 4 years after university to actually really, as Will said, I was just starting. I thought I actually was going to get a job, but it took me about 3 years and a half, 4 years to get a job, which was in Eurocom with Will. And it was because I actually became much better, but also somebody had a chance and gave me a chance. So, regardless, that the only part that you can control is the hard work and upping your skills.
Yeah.
The luck is not something you can control. So
Yeah.
while you wait, the best thing you can do is just work on your craft and become as best as you possibly can. So there's no chance people can say no.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to eat humble pie and stuff as well. When I first went to England, the thing in South Africa, and I think you mentioned it in Brazil as well, you have to be a generalist.
Yeah,
And in England, it doesn't work to be a
that's true.
generalist.
Yeah,
You have to be a specialist on the international stage. So you got to be a character artist. You got to be like a character animator. You got to specialize in something and at least becomes really good in one thing.
yeah,
And that mindset just doesn't exist. And even now, the training is not that way orientated. They still train up generalists. But then if you want to work internationally, you tend to be more of a specialist, um, especially in the games industry. Um, so, what was I going to say now? Lost my
oh,
train of thought.
the thought escaped you. It
Yeah,
happens.
basically, you have to be a specialist. Well, what I was going to say, when I first came to England, I couldn't find a job. I was waitering for a year, man. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of like I
Did,
was
did,
like,
did you thought you had to go back? Like, was there like a fear for you that you came to the England all this way, not to find a job, and you thought maybe you had to go back? Did that?
yeah. I mean, I came from quite a cozy situation. I had a job. I was teaching. I had like people knew me. Sort of like, oh, that's the 3D animation guy. I
Right,
was like,
right,
oh,
right.
oh, yeah, cool, cool, cool. Went to England and I was like nothing again, sort of like applying in studios. Oh, you're not a good enough character animator. That's what I wanted to do. So I took like a year and I was waitering. I was doing all kinds of shitty jobs and stuff. I worked in a call center, all kinds of stuff.
Right.
And every night for 4 hours a night, I was just doing my demo reel. Every
That's
night,
it.
just character animation over and over and over again. And then this small studio head first gave me opportunity before the studio before Eurocom.
Oh, nice.
They applied for the work visa like a year in as well. So I was like in a 2 year work visa and sort of like I would have had to go back after 2 years. And then after a year, they gave me a chance. And then, sort of like,
Amazing. See, once again, he goes back to that, take your chances and work hard, right? It's very
oh
much
yeah,
that
but I
idea.
mean, they wouldn't have given me a chance unless every night I was spending 4 hours after waitering to
That's
do
it.
the
Exactly.
demo reel. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
This generalist stuff that Will mentioned, it was my experience actually, because
Yeah.
at a certain point in Brazil, I was stuck
Hmm.
because and I feel I need to do one more step. So to do this, I need to be like international prepared. So the only way to do that was to be specialist, because in Brazil you need to be a generalist if you want
Yeah,
to make a career and
Yeah,
make
yeah, yeah.
money
yeah,
and bring food to the table. And I had two girls at the time already, so I couldn't afford to go and try. So I
yeah,
need to get good first, and then I start applying from Brazil. That is hard. And then I did this path, and then I bring back what we mentioned before, the mentorship stuff,
yeah,
because what really turned the key, in Brazil we say turn the key, like uh,
mm,
change the mindset.
Mm.
Uh, for me, it was the first mentorship that I did for character animation, like to be a specialist.
mm,
And it was funny because it was with a guy from Pixar, so it brought me a lot of knowledge. But what really makes difference for me, and then I stress about the networking again. It was his knowledge about the industry and about how to work internationally, So this makes all the difference. So since then, I I advise everyone find a mentor, find a mentorship. Sometimes it's not easy, sometimes it's not cheap, but it's totally worth it. If you want to go one step further, you need to find a mentor. So
Yeah.
maybe you find someone that can help you. I try to help as many people as I can. Of course, time is precious. I don't have that much time, but you can like Harvey do mentorship. So
Yeah.
you can hire and do mentorship with many animators. Today, it's much easier to find a mentor and get advice, good advice from people experienced in the industry. So it's totally worth it. So
Completely.
go for it.
Completely.
And of course, what I want to say, we always mention like every day 4 hours doing the craft. The reel that I use it to be hired outside and allow me to come to Europe, it doesn't. It wasn't like commercial job. It was only studies, like 100% studies that I was doing on getting better on my craft, so people tend to think that you need to do like a super render, super well crafted and all the fireworks, but no. And then later, of course, I had the opportunity to watch reels to hire people. So we are looking for different stuff. We are looking for the fundamentals that I mentioned before.
Yeah.
So you don't worry if you don't have like a very good render or lighting or a, a super background or something like that. You need to be good at the fundamentals. So if you are
100%.
good, we will look at it like instantly, and you see this guy know what he's doing. So
100%. Could
it's
not
like
agree
that.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And somebody asks here a question that is very important and I think is very true. So Carlos asks, um, I need to ask, should I buy a hat to be a great artist like you? Because you all wear one. Yes, Carlos.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes.
Yes.
I didn't want to talk about it, but Rex didn't have a cap.
Heck, Rex didn't have a cap,
Yeah.
and we all wear a cap to hide stuff. Like in my
But
case, my hair is like super long and horrible, and this
maybe
is why.
it's a Japan thing, so that's
Maybe Rex is like super suave, so he doesn't need a hat. He's cool.
I
He's
find it makes beards look better, like
That's it. That's
yeah.
another thing we have in common. Is beards. Absolutely.
And now,
Um,
and now the grayscale.
yeah.
on the great scale, exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now, here's a good question from Chromosome. Imposter syndrome. Have you ever felt imposter syndrome, or you weren't a good fit for the company and project? And I think this is especially important, especially for somebody like you, Giuliano, that like I think the imposter syndrome works differently when you work in a company with others, and then when you work by yourself as a freelancer, separated from others. I think that imposter syndrome is different. So maybe we can start with you, Giuliano, to find out exactly how do you actually fight it and how do you go about overcoming it?
I can say that because it was very recent for me, and it's imposter syndrome is not something from the animator; it's from the artist,
Hmm.
maybe from other areas as well. But I just published my imposter syndrome. It was chasing me all the time. So as I
Yeah.
mentioned, right before the Comic Con, I was questioning what I was doing, if it was good or not. So what I learned along this time that you don't need necessarily to fight it. You need to be friends with your
Yep.
imposter because it will not go away. But again, if you know what you are doing, if you are good at the fundamentals and all the craft, the concepts, you have something solid. So you fight the imposter with this. So the imposter will be there all the time. Don't stress about it. It will be there until you are going to the grave. But you don't need necessarily to fight it. It can be like maybe a rule, a measure thing for you. Like you are always alert if your fundamentals and your concept and your craft is in place,
Mhm.
but don't let it go overthinking, for example. It will be there, but don't give it like the stage, 100% of the
To make it the
stage.
most important thing. Absolutely.
Yeah, you make to go together.
Yeah,
Make it
absolutely.
perfect.
Yeah. What about you, Will? How do you deal with it?
Yeah, I get it more with personal work as well. If I do something a bit more personal,
Mhm.
I feel it a
Yeah.
little bit more. Um, I think I felt it at companies before as well, especially if you joining something that's a little bit more famous and there's like people on it and stuff that you respect, and you're thinking, okay, can I actually keep up? And yes, sometimes you got incredibly talented people on a team, and you're not always going to be the best animator on the team,
Yeah.
and that's fine, because you make up for it. Um, First of all, you admire what the other guys are doing, and you just go, "Oh, kudos! That's good,
Mm.
man." See it as inspiration, and then if you and you can make up for it in other ways as well. Um, and then most of the time, eventually, it kind of like evens out, and you say, "Okay, I'm handling a candle with these guys." After time, you just got to give it some time. But I think it's like there's a little bit of an element of shame to it, thinking, "Oh, how do I get here? Do I really have this experience and stuff?" And it's like managing the shame of it, and it's kind of like making it not taking yourself too seriously, so making a little bit of a joke on it. Oh, why
Why are
are
you
you?
acting this way, right?
Yeah, what's your problem?
Yeah.
Sort of like don't be too hard on yourself. And even with, yeah, I think generally in life, just don't be too hard on yourself. Sort of like make your mistakes and stuff. Oh, freaking
That's
hell.
it.
Okay, next time better. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I I find that like taking the imposter syndrome too serious makes it worse.
Oh
That's
yeah,
basically what it is. Like it's basically your doubts, and then you take them very seriously, and then it become a reality, and then you kind of go, okay, so I am the worst. And then some people actually upgrade it even more, and then make it personal, and it becomes like this ball that keeps like. But if you kind of like say like see it like Giuliano or Will are saying, like don't take it too seriously, take it as your friend that is there that you keep hearing like annoying friend is always talking to you, but you go
yeah,
like, okay, so I know where you're coming from, but I'm gonna go this way, even though I'm afraid to do it. I'm just gonna go and keep going. And I
yeah,
think the more you see it as like this annoying voice that doesn't go away, and you're just getting used to it, I think it works out well overall.
yeah. I mean, it can be a little bit motivating as well, just kicking you a little bit of a kick up the ass sometimes.
Absolutely.
Sort of like you
Yeah,
get a
yeah.
little bit too settled. Sometimes there's actually a little bit of truth to it. It's like you. Okay, yeah, no, I've been a bit slack here actually.
That's it. Yeah.
Sort of like, yeah, just pick it up again, and you just basically
Absolutely.
go, okay, no, just yeah,
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
because the
just pick
dangerous
up a bit, yeah,
is dangerous situation is actually when you are super comfortable.
oh yeah,
So
Yeah.
then you are not checking everything that needs to be checked, maybe. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
good to be there to remind that you need to
Yeah.
at least a checklist if
That is
everything is in place. Yeah.
that is true. That is
There's nothing like working on a talented team. If you're surrounded by other people, that's like that they maybe got a slightly different style with you, and you see, oh wow, well, the way they doing that, that's cool. I can't do that, but that's freaking cool the way they doing that. And
100%.
just be glad for other people for stuff they do well.
Yeah.
Sort of like yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And I think two things here is like the journey thing that we're talking about takes years. Like, don't be jealous of people because you will
yeah,
eventually get there. If you work hard, it just takes time. Sometimes they comes from like, I want it now to be like
yeah.
that, but it doesn't come that way. You just have to put in the reps in order to get there,
Oh
I
yeah,
think, right? But then the other thing as well is that if you actually see it as a challenge and you're not too comfortable, like Giuliano just mentioned, it means that you're always double checking with yourself if you're good enough, which then also means that you're always growing. And that
yeah,
imposter syndrome kind of becomes easier because you know you'll get there eventually if you work hard
yeah,
enough, and you
yeah,
know you work hard enough. So
yeah, yeah,
it's just a matter of time instead of just is it or is it not, and that
yeah,
becomes a bit more reassuring as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we have an hour to go, and we're gonna have David here to join us, Giuliano and Will. David Reyes. I'm gonna allow him in. Get the. Hey David, how's it going, man?
Oh,
What's up, guys?
What's up? What's up? Nice
Going
to see
good.
you here.
Oh man, I
Yeah.
dig that chair, man. Freaking hell.
Oh, David has so many cool things, man.
This always gets everyone's attention, man. It's
It's
very
like
funny.
the imposter.
So, David, since you joined us here, I know you've been watching the stream. Thanks a lot for all
Yeah,
the
you guys hit
comments.
everything. I don't know why I'm here.
No, it's fine. You have plenty to say, I'm pretty sure. But
Okay.
now that you're here, can you please introduce yourself and tell us some of the
Uh,
things that you worked on? Because I
sure.
know you worked in amazing things.
No,
Amazing.
man, they're all under the radar. What are you talking about?
Nope.
Yeah, no, I freelanced for forever. I also took the long route into the industry where I was just working with indie teams, building up experience until finally the AAA studio was like, "Yeah, we'll take you," and that's what happened.
And from your standpoint as well, because we've been
Yeah,
talking about so many things, right?
yeah,
Like you kind of like had the same path as Juliano, where you started first as freelance for a long
yep.
time. And can you share, because I know the story, but can you share what you were doing in your daytime while you were doing
Oh
freelance as
man, I
well?
was in IT at the World Bank for like 15 years, and
So
that was funding all the side game projects and you know, random jobs I was doing nights and weekends.
that's insane. So once
Yeah,
again, going back to that humility that we talked about in the beginning, David is very
yeah,
humble as well. But he's been doing freelance while he was doing a full-time job. You had multiple freelance jobs going at the same time as
yeah.
well.
I learned to hit my limit during COVID. Um, no more than 3 or 4 projects at a time. It's too
Yeah,
many, and there's only so much time in a day. So my
that is
family was
amazing.
not happy with it. So balances had to be found.
Time to buy out, to actually just slow down a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, for sure.
And then, like after like 15 years doing freelance and doing all that stuff, you worked on a lot of animations, game systems, and you do more than just animation. You actually do tech animation, building
Yeah,
systems a little bit and stuff.
yeah.
And we talked a little bit about being a generalist here, that it helps, that is good. And I guess during those 15 years, you found that to be useful for games as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of troubleshooting and patience dealing with people, and it leads to picking up tools really fast and learning tools. And definitely the goal was always to be the jack of all trades so I can do all the things if I don't have someone to do it for me.
Yeah, exactly.
And that helped a lot in indie games because they often don't have the budget for all the people to do all the jobs. So if you know how to do more of the things, you get to wear more hats on the project and be more, in the mix.
Have a bigger influence in the project,
Right,
right?
right, yeah. So
Exactly.
that is definitely come in handy. Definitely learn what you can, whatever your pipeline is, learn all the adjacent bits, because then you can at least talk to the other teams on the same footing almost.
100%. And can you mention some of the projects that you worked on freelance?
I
People would know.
mean, from the indie side, it is funny how often Project Kato comes up because we
Project Cat.
never shipped, but the amount of people that just saw the project and were like, dude, that looked amazing. And I'm like, yeah, it did. Too bad we never got to finish it. But that's one of them. I got to work on the side scroller Blind Fate Ito no Yami, which was a lot of fun. I got to work on Ghost of Yote for a few months, which was amazing. And yeah, now I'm doing other stuff for Skydance.
That's amazing. So just to clarify for anybody that is out there that wants to get to freelance, Dave took a long time to freelance to get into AAA, which was
Yeah.
the ultimate destination for you, Dave, right? For many years.
I
to
mean,
get to AAA.
it wasn't initially the goal, actually. I had projects on the indie side that I want to make these games. And then as I was working freelance, I made a lot of friends on the indie side that would tag me on different projects. And so
Right.
I very much became known as like the indie combat animation guy, and that spread around for long enough to build a lot of experience. But eventually, talking to guys like you who were always like wondering why I wasn't doing it full time in AAA,
Yeah,
led me to be like, okay, yeah, maybe I should do that. And it's
100%.
very cool to do it all day now.
To get paid so you don't have to
Yeah,
work
to do
somewhere
that.
else. I bet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That part is cool.
Nice one. So please keep your questions, bringing the questions now that David is here. It's the last hour that we have. Time is flying. Giuliano, Will, thanks a lot for keeping here, being troopers as well, and answering all these questions. but we're getting so many questions that we just mainly answering questions at this rate, Dave, as you probably can see.
You guys, again, you hit everything. So
So it's really good.
yeah.
No, but there's more questions for us to answer. So I'm gonna like just pop one in now, so we can basically go ahead and answer it. So Brandon asked, he's noticed a lot of studios wanting to go back to on-site instead of remote lately. And as freelancers, have you noticed studios being less keen on hiring freelancers because of this shift in attitude? I think this is definitely a question that we all been talking about
Yeah.
at home. So maybe we can start into the courtesy since David started last. Maybe start with David and then we'll go around. What do you think, Dave?
That's fine. Yeah, I've definitely seen the shift. I know a lot of buddies that are trying to get jobs again, and the amount of people that are willing to accept remote work has definitely gone down. But they are still out there. A lot of studios saw the potential in hiring from, outside of their local area and the talent that does exist, in other states and other countries around the world. And given, the time differences, as long as you're flexible and working, the studio's hours, most of them are still pretty cool with it if it's still an option. But there has been a shift going back to the office.
Nice
And
one.
I love working remote. I'm still remote. However, working in the studio with a bunch of cool people is awesome. And I loved every studio visit I could make. So it's not a bad thing, but
Yeah,
it certainly changes stuff.
that's true. Will, what do you think?
Yeah, I guess a bit of a go back to the norm. I haven't personally felt it much. I've been more, the last couple of years, been more working with indies and some really nice, interesting little projects and stuff.
Yeah,
So I haven't noticed that the indies certainly don't require that at this point, and it seems
yeah,
to be some of the more interesting things to work on. Sort of like the indies got a little bit of funding and things like that. Sort of like not big studios, because obviously you still got to get paid as well.
yeah.
But yeah, I haven't felt it as much. I heard the rumors, and it seems like people are going back to the norm a little bit, but. Yeah, you got the flip side. It is nice to work in a studio. It's not that great if you got to move somewhere you don't want to move. But at least there's still more options than there used to be, I think, now still.
Yeah.
But in a way, it's a bit of a shame if it reduces. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not in favor.
agree.
Yeah.
Juliano, how do you find it?
Uh, I
Oh,
thought
go
I
ahead.
was muted. Okay. Uh, I had like I was working remote for many years since the pandemic. So last year, I think it was last year, I got the chance to work on in
On site.
place
Yeah,
again, yeah, on site again, and I was very happy because it was too much time at home. I like it, but I was missing that, more people and be on site and
yeah.
whatever. And right now I am like hybrid, few
Okay.
days at the office, a few days at home. So
Hmm.
to be honest, it's not the best. I prefer to be 100% at home or 100% on site
Okay.
because going back and forth and all the week, it's maybe
Yeah.
I am adapting because it's the first time I'm working hybrid, but that there are good things and bad
And
things.
bad thing. And do you
Yeah.
find that most studios now are going back to being like on-site only, or do you think that there's still a lot of work out there for freelancers?
I think that is still a
A lot
lot
of
of
work.
remote work. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny though, because I also heard the same thing. And to me, it feels very much like the industry is trying different things from my perspective. I
Yeah.
feel like we went pandemic, everybody was from home. Now people are trying to get back people, but didn't work, so people continued on site, like freelance, like as in working from home. And then I think that certain studios that are stuck in this idea that people have to work on site, they prefer to do it mainly because of security and other reasons, and they have to do it. Either they have to do it or they prefer to do it. That's one of the two camps. But I do think that there's a lot of professionals now that we've seen this working remotely, working from your home and stuff, especially if you have a family, if you have kids, if you moved a bunch, like Will has moved a bunch over the years, I have moved a bunch over the years and stuff. Like David as well, he has a family. Obviously, you don't want to move all the time, Dave. I know we had this conversation before. So it, it, I feel like as a studio, you over time, and I might be wrong about this, but I feel like you're not opening the gates for the best talent to come to you because people are less willing than back in the day when I started to actually move across to another planet. I was going to say to another country to basically work there, like move to Canada because you need to move your family there and stuff. And when I was young, we used to do that all the time, but I don't think the willingness is there anymore. And I speak with enough young animators that I feel like I know that they also don't, which is something that I thought maybe was something young because you're young, you want to do it, you're willing to do it. But I don't think so. I think that the young animators also want to work remotely, but they want to basically experience things from afar. Some animators do want to actually go and work in studios because they find it cool, and I don't blame them. So I'm not saying that one is better than the other. I just think that things are changing quickly, and I don't think we know which way we are going to go, or if maybe it's going to become hybrid forever, that we're just going to have both. We're going to have to live with both.
That definitely one thing that the pandemic brought to us, it was the teams, team home and team on
And
site.
team away.
But on site, the biggest highlight for working on site definitely is to the exchanging of experience with other artists. So
That's true.
this is something that is really strong. So
Amazing.
I think even though I got fed up towards the end, uh, I'll never say I'll never exchange those years that I did work in the studios. You know, sort of like the friendships you build up, all the hard times you go through,
Yes.
all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. It's actually it was really nice, and I do remember it very fondly. It's just now at this stage of my life, it's not really for me.
That's it. Depends on who you are as well in your career. Absolutely. Couldn't agree
Yeah.
more.
yeah.
So there's a question here for David, actually. For David, now that you're working on AAA, do you miss working in India at all? For example, having smaller teams, people, more ownership, making an impact in the projects, so on and so forth.
I never really stopped working on them. I just reduced the amount. And certainly that depends on the AAA studio because some of them are not cool with you splitting your focus and time and whatnot. So it really depends on where I'm working on how active I can be outside of that. But no, I love working with small teams. And, I've been thankful to make a lot of friends in the industry around the world, and I still get to pitch in on some really cool stuff every now and again. I get tagged because they need something, and I'm like, yes, of course. Here you go. No, I love it too much to quit it cold turkey. But
Amazing.
that's just me. Yeah.
Great answer.
It's actually, Harvey, rekindled. I think this idea should propagate.
I hope so.
Set up. Yeah.
I hope so. So what David is talking about, for those that don't know, is that at Rekindle, and definitely check us out. At Rekindle, our model is very much that instead of actually just delivering assets like we've been talking about before, that you just get hired, like when you join us, right? When you join us, you just get hired, you just deliver animations as you go through. Because we are a game specific co-dev, we embed ourselves with a team that basically is working in any one project. So for example, Will is working for us, he's working in a cool project. And basically when he kind of joins us, he then goes and embeds himself with the team. So he's basically getting feedback. He's basically having ideas and sharing ideas. And I think he allows for everybody to be more involved. So that the whole what been talking about having two layers of like not only working hard but also networking and getting to know the people with the studio. I kind of think it works on multiple levels because it means that everybody wins. Because if the animator is doing a good job and Will is doing amazing, then people want more of Will. And if Will has good ideas, then people want more of Will. But the studio itself, no. So it's not just a person making assets and pumping out assets. It's all of a sudden it's actually a person that is called Will that has ideas and is doing things. And I think that's really important because I think Coda for the longest time has been just two separate things. We pay you for stuff and you give us stuff. I don't think that's as fun.
Yeah, and for me, it's nice to be actually probably I've been working in smaller teams or just with individual people for a long time. So it's very nice to actually be like in a little team there, like a little get together of the rekindled like little team. It feels like a part of a team, and you just go, you get together and then you go and do your thing, and then you kind of like catch up again. So
Catch
it's
up again,
you
yeah.
still have that, even if the company might be embedded with has got a different culture, you still feel you're part of a collective or a little team that's working on the same goal. So
Completely.
that's nice as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and we share knowledge amongst ourselves and we help each other out, and it's actually quite, it feels like working with mates again. Is the best, I feel is the best like remote experience you can have as an
Yeah.
animator, at least for me. And I'm
So I
glad.
feel I can still work on my own stuff. It's not like a company is going to get pissed off that I'm working on my own stuff, or I've got like
Yeah,
a
no,
personal project at the moment and stuff. And everybody's encouraging for that kind of stuff. So you still have that freedom that you're doing your own thing, but at the same time, you've got this collection of really talented people that tends to come to them because you've got a big enough collective of people,
that's
you
it.
know, that can actually take up the work.
Yeah, no. In all honesty, we encourage it at Rekindle because we understand that animators might have one more than one dream, and maybe you want to work on your own personal stuff. And I feel like as long as you deliver the goods and you can make animations at a specific quality and a specific budget and a specific deadline, and all of those things are true, then who's to stop you to actually do your thing?
Yeah,
Like, I know David appreciates it, Juliano as well, right? Like, we all have these ideas that I want to work for this company. It doesn't matter if it's Riot or Blizzard, but I also want to do my stuff. And I think it's important to get that balance, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, go and check out Rekindle if you're interested, for sure. No big plug here. Thanks a lot, Will, for the setup.
No, but it's genuinely cool. I'm really enjoying my time there. Yeah.
Amazing. So happy to have you here, man. It's good to be working with you again. It's so cool.
Oh yeah, man.
Okay, so we have another 40 minutes. So we have a few more questions about how do you approach budgeting with clients, hourly rates, deadlines, how do you position yourself, and pricing, money. I think that's important. I think we all feel a little bit of this, don't want to talk about money, but want to actually do a good job. So for you guys that are so experienced, how do you go about treating the salary like, seriously, so you don't feel like you're getting underpaid in any ways and can negotiate wisely? So I'll go to Giuliano first on this one.
Yep. Since I am not being overpaid, underpaid actually, overpaid is welcome. If I am not being underpaid, of course, I usually charge by hour, so it changes from person to person. And I have a lot of these questions as well with my students and everyone that is starting. They want to know, and this is kind of, I think it's universal. See how your life cost, let's say, is, and find a base number, and it doesn't need to be like this is your rate and that's it, a setting stone. But this is a base where you can negotiate with your client. So today I used to pick more the kind of projects that I want to be involved with. So I don't mind sometimes to charge less a little bit if the project is very cool and I am personally interested on it, it's something that I really like to do. So it needs to be fair, of course, always. But I am flexible at this point. And sometimes you will find jobs that we say just to pay the bills. So it's not that job that is relevant enough, but you need to be like a good rate because in the end is the hours that you have on your day. So you can't multiply the hours. So you need to get paid fairly by them.
Nice one. Great answer. What about you, Dave?
Completely agree. And most times, especially working with indies, you're usually underpaid because they don't have the budget for it, or you work for free for a really long time and just hope that something pans out. For me, it comes down to the project, because where I'm going to spend my time, regardless of the pay, is more important. So usually it's underpaid, but I think the other fun thing, and something I get questions about a lot too, because I get a lot of DMs from animators that are coming up and trying to get into things. There's also a difference in the US versus the UK versus Southeast Asia versus South America. So knowing where you're marketing yourself, being aware of those rates makes a big difference. And knowing what you can ask for. So if you have friends around the world, definitely poke them and check what those rates look like, because you might be screwing yourself out of a bit more that you could be getting depending on the team you're working with. So
Yeah,
yeah,
amazing. Overcharging them as well, right? It can be the
yeah,
opposite.
yep.
Absolutely. Epic. So, and you will, what would you say?
Yeah, I'm not very great at negotiating for myself. So it's kind of like nice that we can negotiate the price on this other project. You know. But yeah, I mean, I've got kind of like a base rate, and I mean, this for the indies, I kind of like go with the base rate. If it's Triple H Studio, then I go more to the industry standard rate, because I know that's kind of like what they expect.
Yeah.
With the indies, there's definitely a lower rate, but at the same time, I think I tried to freelance in the UK, and it was a lot more stressful, because you almost can't have any empty days or big gaps, you know, sort of like. And if you're in an environment where living cost is quite high, you really have to fight. You know, got no choice but to fight for the highest rate you can get. There has been projects where it's kind of like more indie projects, and I would take a rate that would be probably 15-20% less than I could probably get when I push for it, because but I feel it sets like a certain expectation and pressures from the client as well. So sometimes I would actually have a bit of a lower rate. Not that I'm going to deliver worst animation, but if you charge the absolute maximum, they also feel they can put the maximum pressure on you as well. So
That's true.
sometimes there's a bit of a balance. If the client feels, oh, I'm getting a good deal, it's a fair deal, he's delivering, you know, sort of normally I deliver more than I expected. And then they even feel more that they're getting a good deal. But you always, if you, sometimes you have to push for the maximum. Sometimes if you're in a situation where you can actually have a slightly lower rate but have a better relationship with the client, it's worth it as well, because it just generally sets a nice tone as you go through the project.
Yeah,
So it's kind
that's a
of like,
that's a great point, because I feel like there's something to be said as well about being let go, because like working co-dev or working freelance or working consulting normally comes at a higher price than an internal employee. So you can charge more normally, and it's understood that within the industry that you can actually have like a higher salary, because normally you have to pay tax on top of that. That's basically why it's higher. However, if you charge the absolute max as well, again, as soon as there's any budgeting problems, as soon as there's like any like, shrinking of the studio, you are going to be the first person to be let go, because
yeah,
you are an expense to the budget of the studio.
yeah,
And because you're getting charged so much, even if you over deliver and you make an amazing job, like they will
yeah,
just let you go because you're a big paycheck for them,
yeah,
and they'd rather just like not pay you if they can. And if you have a good price, a fair price, like Will said, I think he's much more difficult for them to let go, because after all, they feel like they're getting a little bit of a bargain, because they know that you're working hard, and yet again you're doing a good job. So it's much harder to let you go. And I've had that specifically as like animation director. Like normally we kind of command like lots of big salaries, and because you have such a big ticket, even if you work there for a year or a year and a half or so, if there is a publisher or something that actually changes, because the games industry is changing so much, like because you are contracting as that role and you're not internal, they will go, okay, let's just let go of this guy, no matter what kind of job he's doing. He's just a number in a name,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's it. So keep that in mind as well when you budget for things. That helps a
yeah,
ton.
yeah. There's no real loyalty with the bigger companies. It's like, yeah, there's loyalty with the people, but not really with the companies. Yeah.
That's it, exactly. And a follow-up question for you, Will, and also you, Giuliano. So you work in Bulgaria, you work in Malta. Do you feel like as you work, I just mentioned, Will, because you work here in the UK and the cost of living is so much higher. Do you feel that freelancing is easier for you guys once you get going because of where you live, because the cost of living is much cheaper than it is in like the UK or the US where David is and stuff? Will, can be first.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Definitely Bulgaria. Yeah, it takes a lot of the pressure off.
Yeah,
Sort of like, in the UK, you can be earning quite a good rate, and you basically maybe 100, 120, 130% of your living costs if you work full time. So you haven't got like a big margin. Where when Bulgaria can work for at least 3 or 4 times. So 1 month's work will carry us. 1 month's or full time work will carry us for about 3 or 4 months.
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So, but you do spend up. So, like we're doing a lot of renovation on the house, so we do end up spending money as well. But our base living costs that we have to cut down, it's like at least a 3x margin. So that helps a lot. So
That helps a ton.
being the location does help a lot. It does take a lot of the pressure off. It doesn't feel. A lot of the times it doesn't feel I've got some savings in the bank, so if I don't get the next project, I can go 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Sometimes up to at one point we can probably go like a couple of years without getting new work in. So that gives you a bit more choice and projects that you choose and things like that as well.
Of
and
course.
also when to stop, when you want to work on something of your own as well.
It gives you a buffer, right?
Yeah, I think that's very much related to where we are, just because living costs are so low.
That's amazing. And do you feel the same, Giuliano?
For me, it's a little bit tricky because, as I said, I tend to pick more what I want to do. So because I have the full-time job, so in this case, it doesn't make such a difference for me because I am getting an extra, but I have my basics covered already.
Of course.
So it gives me much more flexibility. It's not because I am here in Malta, but it's kind of the way I work.
Makes sense. Yeah, Dave, sounds like me and you need to move to Dubai or something like that.
And I'm pretty settled here. We'll see.
Okay, Dave. So you have another question from Purple Haze for David. When would you decide to do your own project if you're not getting hired in the games industry when you take that leap?
Immediately. I was always cooking something on the side because it's a good chance to showcase and learn new skills. Screenshot Saturdays were awesome back in the day. I don't have time to do them anymore, but just working on indie projects, cutscenes, fighting games, whatever. I would just work on stuff, and that becomes stuff for the real, stuff that gets other people in the industry. They come across it. Most of the stuff that I've been tagged on is because they saw something I did somewhere. So yeah, just work on stuff. It's
Just
all
put up,
experience.
put stuff out,
Put
share
stuff
it.
out there. It all adds to the reel. It adds to the experience. It adds to your visibility. It helps with the networking. It does all of the things. There's no reason you shouldn't be outside of balancing your time.
Amazing. Do you feel the same,
this-
Julian?
I can. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to add to what David said because this is really, really huge. Because as I said, when I came to Europe, nobody knew me here. So I was facing a new tool like spine animation. And what I did as a side gig of my full-time job is I start doing fun art with comics that I love it. So I was learning the tool that I need to learn, and I was getting a lot of exposition. So this is really huge. So if you don't have like a project, a commercial project, do stuff as we said before. Sorry to cut you.
No. It's good. That's exactly what I was going to ask you.
But this is is really huge for
Yeah, and I
people.
saw I saw some of the work Giuliano is talking about. You guys should go and check out his Instagram. He's huge on Instagram. He's a lot of following, and he has a lot of art, cool stuff. Go and follow Giuliano. He's awesome. So Will, do you feel the same way about having to basically, you know, do social media, do the online in order to basically get something going?
Yeah, actually, yeah, I'll take my hat off for you because I realized how hard it is to build up a YouTube channel. I've made like a little bit of an effort the last couple of months, but it's not hard enough. Because I developed some tools for Blender, and I was like wanting to promote it, and I realized I don't have any following.
Yeah,
So it's kind of hard to build that thing up. It takes a lot of work. It's another kind of
takes a
like
lot of
a
work.
full-time
Yeah,
job almost, to do it
absolutely.
to the level that you did it as well. It takes a lot of time. I
Yeah,
mean, so yeah, I mean, I think, uh, especially if you're starting out as well, if you do start posting and you start with posting good stuff, that will help you to get a start in the industry as well. So social media now you can actually put stuff in front of people. If you're a good animator, you can actually get stuff in front of people if you
yeah,
post in the right places. And you can even pick up mentors and people just start giving you advice, sort of commenting on your animations and things. I think there's a Facebook group called Professional Animators, and at one point I was like doing a lot of comments on there, like people posting stuff, and I post a thing or two, and then people make comments, and you just basically, people, yeah, sort of like that kind of thing can really help, people starting out with animation. Even if you're not very good in the beginning, you'll get better, and if you build up that following, yeah, I think it's totally worth it these days. But yeah, I started too late, to be honest.
yeah.
So yeah.
No, but I think Will, and I appreciate the props, but I think Will, you kind of nailed it because it requires a lot of consistency and a lot of grind that is outside of just the animation thing,
Yeah,
right? It's almost like you need to be a go-getter. Like you need to kind of think about your work that you're doing and make it as best as possibly it can, and then think about the social media. I need to capture this right now for this moment because otherwise people don't see it. But I don't know if you feel that way, Giuliano and David, but a lot of the times you just feel like I've done something for myself. I'm happy with it myself, and I don't quite feel like sharing it. And you still have to share it because you know it's good. You know people might like it and you might kind of like, but I think it's built within us as an artist that normally if you do something for yourself, you shouldn't really share it because you did it because it makes
yeah.
you happy. So that inner battle is always there when you're doing social media.
I find that a little bit as well because actually, the more experienced you are, like the more people would expect that you'll be able to do. So sometimes it almost gets a little bit scary again.
Right.
I was in the beginning, I was scared to share, and then okay, I was like sharing, and that's fine. And now that I'm more experienced again, and thinking, oh, there's a certain expectation, and now it becomes a little bit more scary again about sharing. And I go, no, no, you can't be like this, man.
That's it.
You remember the whole day. You should just get it. Yeah.
Just get it out. And we were just talking about imposter syndrome. We get imposter syndrome on this as well.
Oh, yeah,
That's exactly it.
The other thing I'd point out on this note is the importance of finishing a thing. Like
Yeah.
just finishing the thing is huge. So start it, finish it, and then yeah, whether you post it or not, getting to the end of a project is huge.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Agree.
I think that's been a blessing for me. It's like once I start something, I just can't let it go, and it's probably part of the reason I stuck to animation. It's like once I can't, once I start something, I have to kind of like get it to a conclusion, otherwise my brain won't rest. So
That's it.
yeah.
Amazing. So I need to I keep scrolling up for the questions, even though I have some lined up, but because there's so many. You guys are very popular. People want to talk to you guys a lot. It's a lot of questions. Let me see what else. What else we have? We have plenty. So this is a simple one, but I think is important because with experience, sometimes you forget this. But is using reference a good practice, and is it allowed in the industry? I think if people asking this, I think for us, we've been around for long enough. But maybe David, maybe you can start by answering first.
Yeah, always, often. I have a huge folder that's just labeled ref videos, and it's gigs and gigs of random stuff I found on the internet, clips from movies, footage I've shot myself. And most times you will be shooting your own reference because you need it and the thing doesn't exist that you need specifically. So you're going to act it out and use those timing beats in your own animation. So yeah, get used to learning how to use reference, I would say, more than
Yeah.
knowing whether or not you can use it.
And build a library of references like David. That helps for the future as well. Absolutely. Giuliano?
Yeah, totally, totally. Not only for animation, but illustration and all kind of arts. I don't know where this came from. That maybe from the concept that creativity is like a gift. Uh, it's not. You need reference because you are trying to mimic real life. So why not? Why not to get real life then? So people think the artist does everything by by heart, by memory.
Yeah.
So that's a lie. That's not true. So even the old masters, Michelangelo and all the gang, they use live models. They use people,
Yeah.
real people. So this should be. I will not say mandatory, but it should be mandatory.
Great. Yeah, Will?
Yeah, I think actually there's absolutely no problem with reference. You use it all the time. I think the biggest mistake with reference and animation is if people do like I think particularly animation, if people do a direct copy, so they get like a realistic a guy with a sword fight in the background, and then they got like a very cartoony so stylized guy, and then they try to copy that animation to the stylized character. And even if it's realistic characters, the way motion translate to like a 3D model is a little bit different. The timing is a little bit different. You need to be a bit sharper in places, a bit slower in other places. So always your reference with animation and the end is the interpretation. It's
100%.
a beginning reference, and then you need to interpret it to bring it onto your character.
100%. And something else that I like to say as well is like if you think about like a sketch artist, like not sketch artist, but illustrator, no illustrator starts a final drawing without doing a sketch first. It's like it's insane, right? Like you think about it, like you never just start. This is going to be the final. Like it doesn't make sense. Like you have to sketch it out. You have to think about it. You need to find out what works, what doesn't, angles and stuff, and not using reference. I would argue, depending on what you're doing. If you have mocap, definitely you already have the reference there. But if you're actually using hand key, then it's almost like you're trying to do the final drawing without actually sketching things out before. So it's almost like you don't know where you're going, but you're thinking that you're going to the final destination, and it doesn't quite make a lot of sense. And another thing to say here as well is that, like, the more you take reference, the better you become at analyzing and studying the human body and movement. And to me, is very much like when sketch artists just like go into the street and just draw people randomly because they're trying to capture, how do I draw a bird? How do I draw a face? How do I draw pants, sneakers, train, a hat? And they're putting it in the mental, their mental, and it becomes secondary whenever they want to pull it off, right, at some point. But they need to build a bank of information to know that now I can draw a hat really well because I've drawn 1,000 hats by a sketch. And as an animator, you need to do the same thing. You need to like do a bunch of references, study reference, analyze reference, find the keyframes, the golden poses, and then go and animate. And the more you do that, you're studying. Basically, you're kind of building your repertoire, your information about how the body moves and stuff like that. It helps you a ton.
Yeah. You got like a 2D artist, and they capture like a 2D image, and there's like a soul to it.
Yeah.
And the animators I respect is the guys who do that with motion. It's not like a copy of the motion, but they capture that essential
The essence.
Yeah, the essence. And there's like a
essence of it.
feeling to it. And it takes a while to kind of like get that feeling.
Completely. Yeah. And something else that I would mention, and definitely out of you guys, like I feel like there's a lot of new animators. I'm gonna sound like a granddad now, but there's a lot of animators nowadays that don't really study the greats of old age, like the nine old men. The amount of students that I've talked to that don't know what the nine old men are, or who are that even haven't heard of those words put together before. It's sad to me because the more you study them, the more you realize the journey that they took to develop the 12 principles of animation first, but also like the mistakes they made and the amount of things they tried in order to get to that conclusion that these are the 12 things that you need to do to get. And if you do that and you study them, then all of a sudden you realize there's a lot of like similarities to our journeys as an animator as you go through it. And just to put things in perspective, and I'm going on about it because I'm passionate about this. Sorry about that. But Milt Kahl, which is considered the best out of the nine old men, he was incredibly talented and stuff. He only started doing things without reference when he was at the end of his career, when he was about 80 years old or so, like 70 or 80 years old. And only then he actually went off the top of the dome, as we used to say back in the day. Only then he actually went, what if I actually were to animate this, like straight ahead from my head, like, in animation? And he pulled it off, but he must have taken like a 40 or 50 years of working as an animator to pull that off, right? And so to me, at least, who am I to actually want to do things without reference if Milt Kahl could only do it at the end of his career, right? So
That
yeah.
is another thing that I don't know if you have this as in your personal experience as a teacher, but I feel that there is a need right now to educate people again. For example, for me, this is huge, the 12 principles,
Yeah.
because it was so massively done, like quick stuff. You need to learn this and you are good,
Yep.
that it became like a checklist. And it's not a checklist.
That's 100%
So
right.
you need to make people understand that this is the translation of movement, of physics. So they are not isolated; they happen at the same time. So
Yep.
I don't know if you have the same feeling that I
Yeah, yeah,
do. But,
100%.
every time that I'm doing a live content or something, or an animation workshop, I need to preach this, and explain again how the things work. They are not a checklist, because
Yeah.
it became a checklist. It's not the right way to look at it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Okay, so I feel like I took all the time, and it's about you guys, not about me. So a question for all of us, more specifically for Dave as well, because he lives in the States. But I think this is important for any junior out there because there's a lot of openings for senior roles. This is true, but not a lot of for juniors or internships. So any guidance on how can somebody with no experience get in the industry at the moment? So Dave, you can go first.
Yeah, that's not an easy one, and I think that's partially a function of everyone that was junior back in the day has now leveled up to that point. And again, the industry is only so big, and most of us know each other. So unless mass quitting happened, there's not going to be tons of openings. And then people are hiring senior teams because senior teams get the jobs done. So you have to put in the time to get to those levels. Unfortunately, if you're trying to work in the States right now, I haven't seen tons of things outside of like internships here and there for studios. I don't have a great answer for that one, man.
No, it's all good.
You got to put in the time to get to that level. Showcase your work is at that level, and maybe you can still get in if you can showcase. The fundamentals, as you guys were mentioning, are fundamentals for a reason. And if you can't showcase that at that higher level anyway, they're not going to look at you. So
100%. Giuliano?
Yeah, it's not an easy one for sure. But it's the same that we spoke about. Do your stuff, sit there, get good at the craft. And today, it's hard, but at the same, there is a level that is quite easier than in the past, that you have access to most of the people in Instagram, LinkedIn. Artists are so resistant to LinkedIn. I don't know if you have the same perception,
Yeah.
but everybody's there. So everybody that needs to see your work to give you a job is there. Actually, not maybe the other artists, they are not all of them, they are not there, but the big ones are there as well. Like you are producing a lot of content for LinkedIn. So
Yep.
in one side it's hard to get in, but in another side it's easier to get feedback, to get networking. So use that, and along the way get good on the craft.
Amazing. And I also say that it's easier than ever to get tutorials and mentors.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah, I
like
forgot
the
that.
people that can get you there is much easier than before as well. Yeah. And Will?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys got this feeling the last few years as well, and I've been having a mental shift, and I've been talking to Hank about this as well, and this is why we started our own little project as well. Is almost like the focus is going out. The future is not in having jobs. The future is in creating content.
Hmm.
You know, getting together and actually creating content and getting it out there. Um, it's almost like the corporates. I started when the games industry went from not being corporate at all, and it was just in that transition period where the teams gone from 12, 20 people to like 60 people and then 500 people. um, so in those kind of things, you can still find work in there, but you need to be higher level and you need to work in a collective like Rekindle, something like that, to stand a real chance. And also just have work really hard and do the talent. Nobody ever gets anything by doing nothing. You basically just gotta do stuff. Every single successful animator I know, they just did a lot of stuff. You know, they just animated. You know, that's just animate, and you know, sort of like you tend to get better. I was really terrible when I started. Um, so, but I think there's this maybe the getting a job mentality. Um, I wonder in the future if it's going to be that helpful. Um,
Yeah. I see what you mean
because
though.
it's yeah, because it's like it's because things are getting so corporate that, and people are actually, there's a bit of a revolt against it. So people who can actually get together, and now a smaller team can actually make content. So maybe the focus should be more who I can get together with to do something cool.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so, yeah, yeah.
100%. And I think the industry is shifting as well, where like I think people are thinking about most likely junior animator positions in Riots and Blizzards and all these big studios, Naughty Dogs. But the indie industry is kind of like basically there's a big revival, and mid-level studios are also here. And I would argue that for an indie studio that is very budget conscious, if you are a talented junior animator that showcases a lot of talent and is putting his work in social media, if I know you're junior and if I know you're looking for an opportunity and I have a small budget, then I'm very willing to give you an opportunity because now I know that as a junior, there's this, maybe you guys don't know this, not you guys, but the chat, but like there's this idea that when you hire a junior, you're not hiring a junior just for the skills, but juniors have a tendency to linger longer in the company out of loyalty. And unfortunately, a lot of companies kind of play this wrong and actually like, overwork them and stuff, which is not the way to go. But if you treat them well and pay them well and actually kind of like empower them, normally a junior has them to stay in the company for longer than a senior would, for example. So a senior has more tendency to jump around. So if you find a good small studio that has amazing things, like for example, a lot of Korean animators found Clair Obscur, the game that came out not long ago, and they were unknown before the Clair Obscur, and they were doing amazing work, and now they actually found a project to kind of gather. They did amazing animations, and now you have most likely you guys have seen your LinkedIn feed like full of animations from Clair Obscur from this South Korean animators, and now I'm pretty sure they have work all over the world, not just in this indie game. But it's about chasing those opportunities. And Juliana mentioned about LinkedIn being available and stuff. I think all of us want to help out anybody that comes to us. I mean, we have limited time, but we all always kind of like try to answer and help and as much as possible because we know how hard it is.
Yeah.
For sure. So if you kind of reach out to us and we can give you like answers and feedback and stuff, I'm pretty sure you can do the same thing with up and coming studios and like look out for your own opportunities, right? Be a go and like don't just think about the opportunities that everybody's looking at. Try to find other ways around they can get you to where you want it to be. Like I don't think there's a straight path to get here. Like Dave has spent 15 years working away from AAA to get to AAA. Like Juliano was in Brazil, and then and Will as well. Like he had like the path that he went from South Africa to here. Myself as well. Like you guys know my story because of the channel most likely, but if you don't, check it out. I've talked about it a bunch of times, but there's no straight line. There's no like just I was a junior at Riot and this is how I made my career. Most people never start that way. Most people start somewhere else and they get to Riot at some point in time as they work hard. So yeah.
What don't change ever is hard work.
Yeah, that's the only constant. Hard work and tenacity. I think tenacity is something that people don't talk about. Some people fold a lot of the time a little too early. And I'm not saying that this is easy. This is not easy, but being tenacious and finding like ways to think like David is really tenacious. I know that because I work with him and he finds projects, he finds people to work with, people contact him, he finds a way to make it work, he finds time to make work. Giuliano, same thing. Like when we were doing our trailer for Warship Jolly Roger, he helped us out. He had a bunch of projects and still made it work. We still have like amazing titles. Warship Jolly Roger, that was Giuliano and things. And I know Will is because we used to work, I don't know how many 18 hours days. Like I don't know how many days in Eurocom. How many hours did we work a day? It was crazy. It was way too many hours a day. But yeah, tenacity is something that if you don't have it, then you have a tendency to fold a little too early, and you need to make sure that you have the strength to keep on going, right? And if you love it, then I think it's one good way for you to keep going because you're doing it for yourself, not for others.
Yeah, sometimes there's some people who like the idea of being that thing rather than actually doing the thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like if you teach like a class full of people, normally if it's like 20 people, there'll be 2 or 3. It's not just the idea of the thing. It's like it's the thing that they're doing. It's not the thing they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I do. This is what I am. Like Dave is an indie developer. That's what he is. That's it. So I think we only have 5 minutes left. So we've been here for about 3 hours, and I know Giuliano and Will need to get some water, need to rest. David, I think I know that you have a few minutes and you have to do other things as well. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Even though you're still getting questions, which is, thank you, chat. Appreciate it. You guys are amazing. But I think we need to wrap it up because people are busy and doing other things. So I'm going to go around and ask Giuliano, any last words for the people here, seeing you, asking questions, any advice?
First, buy the comic. No, I'm joking. But, things that I am always repeating, and it's important. You are always working for you, so it doesn't matter where you are working. If it is freelancing or a big studio or in studio, it's always you in the end. So put this in your work ethic. So you will, if you are underpaid sometimes, if you are paying okay sometimes, keep in mind that the job that you are spending hours, so make sure that the hours that you are spending, they will land in your portfolio. So it doesn't matter where you are working for you. So think about this. Think about what is the name? It's not self-promotion, it's like a personal brand. You are your brand. You are your company. So independent of the place that you are. So take care of your career. This is the difference of having a job and have a career. Think career always, because then you get always the best from what you are doing.
Wise words. Will, any last words, advice to anybody watching who wants to go into freelance consulting, all that stuff?
Yeah, I just feel like I just want to balance the conversation a little bit, because we're all quite passionate people. We've all worked quite hard, and we managed to have like a career out of it. But I never forget the Keith Langer was like, for me, and I know for you as well, was a big influence like back in the day.
100%.
And just saying, listen, animation isn't everything. Also, animation isn't heaven. Animation can be heaven for some people, it can be hell for other people. So if you're not having a good time, this thing is not for you. There's no shame in it. If this thing is for you, just put in the time, and you'll enjoy that time anyway. But if you know, sort of just, and it's like work isn't the most important thing in life. You know, sort of like having a bit of balance, spending time with your family, having that, you know, having the kind of life that you want is a lot more important than building like the absolute best career in the world.
Absolutely. Super wise as well. And Dave, finally, any wise words?
Oh man, how do I follow those? Yeah, live life, because that informs your art. You know, experience things. All of that stuff comes up from the books you read to the music you listen to, the movies you watch. Conversations with friends can inspire all sorts of stuff. And then, yeah, make stuff. Keep making stuff. It's the only way to get better. Do the things.
Yeah, do the thing.
Make stuff.
Thanks.
Make stuff. That's it. Just keep
100%. Yeah. And with those wise words that you heard here, we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much, Giuliano, Will, Dave, everybody that came along, Daniel, Rex. I appreciate you guys' time. Once again, I know that people are busy, people have careers, have like, you know, money to be made. So I appreciate you guys taking the time, and I hope we get to do this at some point in the future. And I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Nice to meet you guys as well.
Yeah, pleasure to talk with you guys. Thanks for
Yo,
setting this up,
guys.
Harvey.
Bye-bye. No problem.
Bye-bye.